The title is Let's Talk. And why? Because if someone wants to jump in and have a opinion, this is the this would be a good one. I mean, things are good. I found some crazy stuff out today that I didn't. Hey, what is up, George? Bump. I don't know if that works. Sometimes I think my channel might be like removed from the algorithm. And I'm not using that as an excuse. I was listening to Razor Fist talk about it, and apparently it's a real thing, where like stuff like that happens. Of course, he's a lot more likely to get, done in than me because one, I'm not monetized. Two, I don't have a huge audience. I think I've got just over 3,000 people. And it's constantly going up or down by like 4 or 5 every freaking time I look at it. So it's like 5 people leave, 5 people join. 5 people leave, 5 people join. I'm starting to wonder if it's the same 5 people. What's up, James? Brother James. Every time I see your name, that's what I want to say. Brother James. If you're bigger than me, then you can be Big James, and I'll be Little James. If you don't get the reference, it's the 2 Jameses that followed Jesus. There were 2. One was the brother of John, and he was called Big James because he's a big guy. And the other one was just called James. Oh, yeah. I give the link out, but I generally only invite people I know. Poor Shadow, man. He gave the link out and got a whole movie of somebody playing with their penis. Never really had that one before. So, I mean, that's like Omegle, though. I've talked about Omegle. It's like the idea of Omegle is awesome. You go on and it randomly connects you with someone somewhere in the world. And the theory is you can either talk to them or you can just be like, nah, and move on to the next one and, whatever, right? I mean, that seems like a beautiful thing until you realize that 80% of it is just guys jerking themselves off, And it's like, this is why we can't have nice things, This is why we can't have nice things. But, man, AI video is getting so good. I was watching this AI video of like the president grinding out some sick moves, as the kids say, on a skateboard because he's really, really, really wanting to be a DLC playable character in the new Tony Hawk. And I mean, whatever, they were using to make all the videos and stuff, it looked dead like him. And then when they were interviewing him, I mean, it was so Trump, because he was like grinding down a rail or something, and he's all like, my moves are the best. Everybody agrees with that. Blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, man, I mean, I guess in a way we could say it's scary because we may come to a point in our lives where we will not be able to tell what is and is not actually real. That could be a thing, you know what I mean? Where we're just like, where nothing can be trusted because everything is so easy to do with AI, movies and everything, right? But for now, it's pretty funny. On Facebook, man, Facebook is just filthy too. On Facebook, they got this like old woman that lives in a trailer, and her granddaughter's always coming up and saying shit. And the old lady's response is always basically like, "You're a whore," whatever, whatever, whatever. I mean, it's pretty crazy, It's funny in a way, but yeah. Like there's one where the granddaughter comes up and says, "I met this man. I think I'm in love, blah, blah, blah." And the grandma's like, "Yeah, you said that last time, about whatever, whatever." And, start talking about, you got to love made in meth heaven and shit like that. And it's just like, damn. So they've been to Pikeville, Kentucky, then, I guess. I mean, I love my home Commonwealth that I was born in, but I can be honest. A lot of meth heads up there. Pikeville's terrible. I mean, Harlan's even worse. Like in Harlan, you can buy a house twice as big as my house for like $100,000. But you know what the downside of that is? None of you can really answer, but I'll answer for you. The downside is you're in Harlan. That's, it's like the upside is you bought, a 4,000 square foot house on 20 acres of land. The downside is you are in Harlan. And yeah, that's just not what anybody wants. Nobody wants that. Even the people who live in Harlan are like, God, if I could only scrape together enough money and food stamps, I would move out of Harlan. They would too. And then Pikeville's nice as long as you never leave your house. Actually, there are nice parts of Pikeville, but one of my friends lived up there, had a big ass dog, and it was like, as long as you're home and everybody knows you're home, it's fine. But if you say you go on vacation and people find out you're not home, they'll have every bit of copper wire stripped out of your damn house before you know it. And it's just like, really? Really? But the answer is yes, 100%. They will steal the copper wire out of your house. And, and then act all innocent when you come home and like, all the wiring and everything's gone and be like, "Oh yeah, I didn't see anybody over there. I was down at my granny's and blah, blah, blah." And for a fact they did it. Like, screw you, man. Pikeville. That's why I like the region I live in, because the towns that do exist are all like good towns, like there's not a bunch of meth heads hanging out. And then the forest I live in, the woods I live in, there's not enough people there for there to be a lot of crime, because it's so, rural. And then on top of that, I know or am related in some way to everybody that lives in that area. So, I mean, even if somebody were a criminal, they would never want to do any crime on me. Especially because my family has a really, really, really sordid history of killing people. So the your typical meth head thief guy who's not really interested in taking human life, the last thing they want to do is get involved with a family that is known for taking human lives, so it's kind of weird, because when I go up there, I get treated with deference, and it's not because of anything I've done. It's just because of things people in my family have done. And I guess the assumption is, if one of them would do it, all of them would do it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, people don't really want to mess around with that shit. I got my uncles and grandpa and all that to thank for that, back when they were wild and young and didn't give a shit about shooting somebody's house or car or anything full of holes. But, now me, I think there are only two reasons I think I could actually take somebody off the census now. Maybe three, but really two main reasons. If they hurt my wife or hurt my dog. And I don't mean accidentally, the dog ran out the street and they ran it over and all of a sudden I'm going John Wick. No, nothing like that. But if they were like actively cruel and murdered my little Pomeranian, I don't think I'd have a problem taking a whole family off the census for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that might seem weird for some people, but I really love my dog. And then, anyway, what you guys, I see there's a few of you popping in and out and everything. Like I said, the channel name says it all. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about? You want to sit here and listen to me tell stories of old Kentucky? Out in the woods with all the cultists and the monsters and shit. You guys have heard it before. See, Monty Cook, when Monty Cook decided to make the game Old Gods of Appalachia, he should have contacted me. And I'd have straightened him up because he got a lot of shit wrong. Now, the other game I've got, which is called Bloody Appalachia, they got a lot of shit right. Because mainly they just threw the kitchen sink in there and they're like, it can be anything. So they got a lot of stuff right. Some things wrong, but like I said, if you just, you can tell they did research. You know what I mean? You can tell they researched what they were going to put in their book as, antagonists and stuff. I saw it on Double D's channel. I didn't watch it for myself, which I should. If you have any opinions you want to share, James, by all means, I'll listen and give you my next to worthless opinion on things. I do want to say up front, I actually like Professor Dungeon Master, okay? I know that I talk a lot of shit about and to him on occasion when I feel like he's, went too far, did something I didn't like, or made a mistake about something, or is just being a big fat shill. Yes, I've went after Professor Dungeon Master hardcore, right? But overall, as a human being, I would game with the dude. I like the guy. I can't help but like the guy. I think he's a decent human being. And I don't mean this in any negative way. I think he understands the way YouTube works, right? So he does his weekly, and every now and then he might throw in something extra, which keeps him, it keeps people, okay. The problem with live streaming every day is people get to where they don't show up to watch every live stream. because, they either watch the one before or they're going to watch the one later, whatever it is. Or maybe they just get sick and tired of hearing you talk about whatever you're talking about, right? So doing it once a week keeps it actually fresh. It's the way to do. And you'll notice all the most successful guys that are doing streams are on like a weekly basis. And the only time they stop that is if there's like some breaking news that they really got to get out, right? I respect that. And two, the fact that he does everything he can to remain in the good graces of the 5e crowd, the Critical Role crowd, the actual big viewer blocks in this little niche of a thing we call role-playing games, right? Again, that to me shows his genius, right? He studied it. He figured out which way the wind was blowing, and and that's what he does. I mean, could Dungeon Professor just stop doing any 5e stuff and just like devote his whole channel to some other game? He could, and you would see him lose so many subscribers so fast. Yes, that is, if you're going to make money, that's the thing. See, a person like me, Mercer, never be interviewed by me. Actually, none of them that care about their politics or anything would ever be interviewed about me, because you could always look up a past stream and find something that would offend someone. But
what are you in trouble for now?
Huh?
What are you in trouble for now?
Oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm describing why Professor Dungeon Master is actually a genius.
Because?
Okay, I will repeat. He doesn't offend anyone. He's non-controversial. He chases after the largest block of viewers involved in our little niche of a hobby. And occasionally he uses, clickbaity kind of titles.
Fair.
So, yeah, Matt Mercer and them, of course they're going to let Dungeon Professor or Professor Dungeon Master be the guy to interview him. He has no controversies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They let me interview him, no matter how nice I was in the interview, someone would look up at some point where I said something somewhat slightly racist or whatever. There would be
I don't believe you. You are the most middle of the road. You're such a centrist, hippie, one love kind of guy.
I really kind of am.
Here's the thing. Okay, listen, hear me out.
But I am controversial.
Shut the fuck up for a second. Let me say something nice about you.
Sheesh.
Okay, I'm going to say something nice.
Oh, my
Rare.
goodness.
I don't give a fuck what your politics are. I don't give a fuck about any of your spicy takes or your edgy bullshit, because you spent a large portion of your life saving other people's lives, and you didn't give a fuck if still talking. You just smile and take.
Oh, I was just taking a breath.
Good. You didn't care whether they were black, white, Chinese, Vietnam. You didn't give a fuck. You saved people's lives. You didn't give a fuck if they were Republican, Democrat, fucking libertarian, whatever. You didn't give a fuck. You saved people's lives. You balanced your karma. You spent some of your youth in a war that shouldn't have happened, and we all know that war shouldn't have happened, but you went and you fought and you took lives. And then you spent the remainder of your life giving your body over to the protection and salvation of others. I think you have hit a karmic 0, and as a result, I think you're a good person. I think in the Buddhist sense of everything, you would get to go to nirvana because you've managed to balance your scales, which is a nice thing. Now, in the Egyptian sense, I don't know if your heart's heavier than a feather. I don't know. Don't know your heart. Don't know. But I know the man I talk to, and there's a reason I still talk to you. And it's because I know deep down underneath all the Americanism and Southernism and all that fun stuff you love to do, you're still a good person.
Nice word.
You're welcome. But you're a good person at the end of the day, and that's why I still talk to you. Now you.
Well, that's why in that one video, when I found out that an actual on-duty paid firefighter had been talking shit about the assassination, I was so like, dude, you're a firefighter. You're above that. I mean, when you're on the job and shit, but see, my department was smart. We weren't allowed to have social media. so that's very smart. Did the copper stillers leave their home? Aren't they afraid? The copper stillers a lot of time lived in abandoned trailers, Dean Powell, that had like no water or anything like that, because they were busy cooking meth in what they call the Nazi method, which is where you cook meth in a 2-liter bottle. And it's really, really dangerous, but it's also really, really easy. And it's also what causes sometimes trailers and shit to, blow up and burn down. I mean, but basically, yeah, they put all the chemicals in a 2-liter bottle. They drop the lithium and all the other stuff in, screw the lid, and they shake it. And as it's cooking, they have to remember to release pressure. And of course, a lot of things can go wrong. Like the big lab thing you guys see on like Breaking Bad, that's probably like, I don't know, 10% of how meth is getting cooked. The other 90% is some hillbilly or biker with a shit ton of empty Mountain Dew 2 liters cooking meth, stripping freaking 9-volt batteries to get the lithium out of them and shit like that. How do I know this? Because I was trained to make meth in the fire department as a means of recognizing meth being made. So we went into like all of the shit. And meth is horrible because like in Florida, they had this deal where people would rent a house, cook a shit ton of meth in it, and then leave. And then some other people would rent the house, and all of a sudden their kids and shit would be getting sick. It's like because the cooking of the meth poisoned all the drywall. And we had to know about that. Like when we ran on a meth lab, we had to go into full freaking, because that shit's bad. So, the people stealing the copper wire, Dean, they didn't have houses. They just had little flop areas that they hung out to cook the meth. And they would steal copper wire because, a lot of people will buy copper by the pound, no questions asked. You roll up there with a big wad of rolled up copper, it's not a big deal, right?
That's why my younger brother is doing 400 years.
Well, in Florida, one of my buddies, kind of, that I grew up with, he got busted his 3rd time, so he's just doing life. Because we got that 3 strikes, you're out rule down here, so they catch you with 3 first-degree felonies or whatever, you just go. You're done.
Thank you, George.
Huh?
Thank you, George. George said something nice to me in the chat.
Oh, yeah, it was. I actually watched some of it before I fell asleep and woke up with my computer on my chest. And, and I woke up at like 11:30 and my computer is like here and the mouse. I had to look for the mouse. It's just like, but that's just because I was really tired because I'd had to go all the way to the north end of Orlando and do a bunch of shit. And it wore me out because.
Yeah, don't you hate being at that age where like running errands? It's like, well, I think I need a nap now. I ran some errands. Fuck, I hate.
I wait till the weekend.
Well, the thing is,
no, I want to enjoy my weekend. What are you talking about?
I got Monday through Friday off.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice that you don't have a job. Okay, fuck you.
I've been retired for like 30 years, so yeah.
Whatever. That's not retired. That's just called freeloading and drug dealing.
No. I get a regular paycheck.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, right. He gets residuals.
Yeah. That too.
It's not a regular paycheck with the residuals.
Yeah.
Well,
it's hush money.
Nod.
He gets hush money.
That's a completely different story.
Right. It's all like wink, wink, nod, say no more. But
so in this Professor Dungeon Master Critical Role interview, did he ask them why they weren't using Daggerheart for the new? What'd they say?
He asked them why they chose 5e.
And what'd they say?
Something about it was a more sandboxy game, blah, blah, blah. The word
That's a load of crap.
The word sandbox was brought up like 100 times. it ended up becoming kind of like a meme. People in Double D's channel were like making fun of the word sandbox because of how often they were using.
I really hope that word fucking falls out of favor, because there's one thing I can't stand. It's people people ask me this question for Heroic. Can you do a sandbox with Heroic? What, like they just wander around town all night and then you roll for random crimes for them to stop? That sounds like the most boring. It sounds like the most boring ass superhero game ever made. You know what I mean?
Heroes.
Even
I love
City
City
Heroes
Heroes.
wasn't sandbox because there was all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah, you just sandboxed a little bit. If you contacted your contacts, you were given mission trees that you would go on from location to location.
That's kind of what they want to say yes or no at a whim.
Like if you were me and just wanted to jump from rooftop to rooftop, beating the shit out of whoever happened to be on the particular rooftop, you could do that.
You could.
But you could also follow the missions where you had to defeat some Nazi mastermind or whatever you were doing. I mean, how you doing, Dean?
Are we still talking Daggerheart?
Sure.
We were basically talking about the Professor Dungeon Master interview with Mercer.
It's just now on the live stream as opposed on the live feed as opposed to live stream. So there was a minute or two to skipped. But yeah, it's just because you said like something about fighting Nazis. So I wondered like, oh, we're still talking Daggerheart.
Because that's the whole premise. Did you see, by the way, I downloaded the...
Is that the whole premise of Daggerheart?
No, it's not. I downloaded the Invincible because I backed the Kickstarter. I was like, fuck it, I'll back it. And I downloaded their quick start. It's Marvel with a D6 pool. It's Marvel Phase Rip. They took the color chart out and changed it from a fucking percentile to a D6 pool. So it's like they took D6 Legend, which is not really the best version of D6 as far as I'm concerned, because it's the roll, and if you get a 6, it's a success, right? That's their version of it. And they use like fighting, agility, strength, blah, blah, blah. And like there's all the rank names and everything. It's like, you fucking sneaky pricks. Fucking sneaky. I was worried
there
for a
are
second.
People who will argue that the face wrap version of Marvel was the best version.
I'm one of them.
So they at least decided to steal from the best version.
Agreed. I'm just glad it doesn't have a color chart, because if they were just doing what I'm doing, I would have been like, fuck my life. Like, you know, that would have been
like, on this for so long and these assholes just come out.
Just throw money at it because they have it. You know, I've been like, fuck. Hey, Paladin, what's up, man?
But, yeah, so what I saw, I know that one of the guys that comes on this channel, I wish I can remember names and I wasn't like going senile or whatever, but he said he spent his whole time watching Professor Dungeon Master interviewing Matt Mercer, asking if they were going to bring back that dude that
Orion, whatever.
Scott Garby is obsessed with. Orion Okaba.
Yeah.
Like he kept like asking. So, is there any chance you're going to bring back Okaba and shit like that? And I was like very upset because I didn't think of that first. You know what I mean? That just get the whole chat full of people demanding Ryan Okaba be brought back to Critical Role.
Yeah, from what I understand, he was an alright guy who shouldn't cheat with the dice, and he isn't a good actor.
Oh, he also at one point, I forget where I've seen this, but I know I've seen it. He said something to Miss washing the Batmobile that was a little edgy, and you could see the look on her and Matt Mercer's face.
Yeah, but the other ones have also said something edgy. So it's literally the HR meme with like where two people say the same thing, but like one of them is obviously more attractive. It's just because there are literally someone on a few people there was said worse than what he ever did.
It doesn't matter though.
Yeah,
it's who you are that matters. Like if you're a really big, handsome dude that makes money and you work at a corporation, you can flirt with all the chicks, and none of them are going to HR. But if you're like a troll and kind of awkward and off-putting, yeah, your ass is getting turned in immediately, right? Oh, by the way, Bear, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
What do 50 lesbians and 50 politicians have in common?
Hungar joke. Go for it. What?
They don't do dick.
Wah, 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 ba, bum, bum, bum.
You know,
I had
funny.
a buddy of mine was a stand-up comedian. He said lesbians should not be allowed to buy penis-shaped dildos. They made their choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You made your bed, sleep in it.
Yep.
But I like they don't do dick. Mostly because of the political part of it. Because, I hate politicians.
As
Yeah.
one should.
What do you call a million politicians at the bottom of the Baltic Sea?
A good start.
A
Yeah.
good start. Yep.
SD6 is where you add it all up. Yeah, that's Star Wars D6, West End Games D6, which has been released as kind of a neutral D6.
The new Planet of the Apes game does the same thing.
Yeah, there's
Speaking of
like
which dice pool system do you guys prefer? Do you prefer numbers of successes, or do you prefer total number?
total number.
I like total number, but there's one version of number of successes I like, which is the ubiquity system, where you roll your dice pool, and before you throw your dice, you say odd or even, roll the dice, and then count up the odd or even, whichever it was, and that's the number of successes you get. And I love that one because you're not just using D6s, you could literally put a pool together. I got 8 dice, all right, I'm going to throw 2 D10s, a couple of D20s, doesn't fucking matter. Roll my dice, count up odd or evens,
Yeah,
there's my
it is.
successes.
Unless it's one of those weird like D7s.
Yeah, fuck that.
We
use
don't
real
use
dice in
Odyssey
this house,
dice
sir.
here.
They
That
exist.
Use real
They-
dice,
itself
sir.
over at that point. But it
There's-
is great because if you got a bunch of die 6s or die 10s or die 12s or whatever, you can roll whatever.
I will also say I prefer what you call total number, but that's because I have very bad memories of playing World of Darkness games with like in a virtual tabletop, and for some reason, every time you get a success, they just happen to be cancelled out by a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's coming up with like 5 different ways you came up with a success or a complication could be it can just drag a game on when the DM's like fumbling for ideas, or the player if it's their responsibility to count off all the different ways you succeeded or failed.
And
You're
that's
kicking him
why
in the nut, and then the second one.
everything you guys are saying is why I say 5th edition Vampires the better version.
Vampires are for hunting, not playing.
They have a hunter version for 5e,
I know, but nobody plays it.
but no one plays it because people want to play blood drinking superheroes, not the
It's
people
gross.
who get murdered.
Plus, man, let's be honest. In World of Darkness original, I don't know about 5th edition, normal humans, even like well-trained normal humans versus anything supernatural, it's a bad fucking night for the humans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
whew.
Very
Every
bad.
hunter book basically says so. Yeah, you win by preparation.
Yeah.
Do not get touched. Do not get charmed. Do not get shot in the head.
Yeah, my character wouldn't even have to use his potence to just straight up punch and kill a mortal. Because all of my hand damage is lethal. So yeah, being the mortal, I mean, it might be fun for some people if you want to play like a Dean and freaking what's his name running around.
Sam,
No, there is a supernatural role-playing game, right, by Margaret Weiss Studios using the Cortex.
I had the Monster of the Week game for a while. It was Apocalypse though.
I'd rather just play chill.
I'd rather actually use the because I can't afford chill, you fucking braggart. I would rather use Unity, the cinematic Unisystem, the cinematic Unisystem from Buffy and Angel and Army of Darkness.
It's
That's
not
a
really that
great system.
expensive, Bear.
Are you kidding? It's a fucking $100 American plus another $40 to $50 American to ship it to me. So by the time it arrives at my door, it costs me 200 Canadian.
I just saw a copy for $50.
Where?
eBay, of course.
Yeah. What condition is it in?
Decent.
I don't know. You
Hey,
don't-
yeah.
Decent. I mean, I wouldn't look at it if it's like split corners. I don't touch.
Show me the link. Show me the link because I look for that game once a month and I always never see good prices on it.
Well,
Give me a second.
that's why Discord exists. You can hook Bear up, and maybe Bear can be happy about.
Well, if worse comes to worse, I'll leave you my stack in my will.
I'll be dead before you, Methuselah.
Wow, here's a copy for only $500. Jesus
There
Christ.
you go. Yeah, maybe you saw 50, you saw 500, but your dyslexia kicked in.
So
you
what is
fucking-
chill or chilling or whatever?
So there's 3 versions of this game called Chill. There's the original by Paysetter, which is what we're talking about, which is a box set from the 80s. Then in the late 80s, early 90s, they came up with the second edition by Mayfair, which is a thick book. I have it over here on the shelf. So
Yeah, I've got it.
I liked it. I didn't hate it. I ran a campaign while I was in college. We had a lot of fun. Then somewhere about 10, 15 years ago, a 3rd edition came out and it had fucking token. It was all the rage. Remember around 2010 when all the fucking games had tokens and shits and everything else you had to fucking
No.
It was like everyone, it was annoying. It was an annoying trend. Well, that's the 3rd edition of Chill. No interest. 0 interest.
So no chills.
Yeah, it's basically the TV show Supernatural, but ostensibly set in the like Victorian era, right?
You can do the Victorian era. You can do it like a Hammer horror film, or you can do it like a 30s thing. You can do it like a modern. There's modern stuff for it as well. It's a very good game. It's a great game, in fact. It's a great game. It's very well known. Everyone loves it. They all say it. Great game. It's a great game. Big dice.
I, instead of ever getting into Chill, immediately jumped into Call of Cthulhu, and then never left.
They're very similar.
I just like that it's not Lovecraftian. You can do Lovecraftian stuff in it, but one of the things I don't like about Call of Cthulhu is, oh look, they're werewolves, but they're somehow Lovecraftian. Oh look, they're vampires, but they're somehow Lovecraftian. It's like, ugh,
Yeah,
exhausting.
it was
you know?
more of a Universal or Hammer Films, supernatural game.
I get what you're saying, Bear, because one of the stories or whatever had a vampire in it, but the guy had become a vampire like hundreds of years in the past by having done
Must have
some
sold.
ritual or something to some art, god. They're not actually gods, they're just aliens, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I kind of get what you're saying there,
It's just exhausting. It's
But
just like,
the seven.
Well, it gets tiresome after a while. There's only so much, elder nonsense you can deal with without wanting to just have just a good old fashioned werewolf or vampire hunt, or
the
it's a
seventh
ghost.
edition allows that.
There was one thing I did like about Cthulhu Punk, which is a GURPS version of Cthulhu mixed with Cyberpunk. Is people had caught up so much in tech that, and also were crazy from all the cyber components that they could actually punch some of the minions or shoot them.
I mean, you could do that in a standard 1920s game. I mean, let's be honest, cultists and deep ones are not that big of a deal. I mean, if your character is like a gangster or some shit and you're running around with a Tommy gun,
Right. But if all you got to 38 special, the creature from the Black Lagoon's going to tear you up.
unless you're really good with it, yeah.
I don't know. I remember him getting shot quite a few times and him just shrugging it off.
Yeah, well, that's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I look at him as the same thing.
If a deep one, deep ones you have to remember are half human. But
They are a
anyway,
little squishier too, maybe around the midsection.
regardless of all that, I mean, hell, we were playing Mansions of Madness 2nd edition the other day, and my buddy Tony beat like 4 deep ones to death with a shovel.
Okay.
He kept rolling good. They kept rolling bad. So he literally was just running down through the back garden of a mansion, freaking just beating deep ones to death. I mean, you can do it. I mean, I could pull the stats out. They don't have super, natural stats. They just, got
Yeah,
big
but then
wounds.
everything
They
else
had
has
hit
supernatural
points.
stats.
Yeah, their only thing is they got teeth and claws.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're not particularly. I mean, especially Tony was playing, a character that was like just, a combat monster, guy high strength, high size, with a freaking literal, like 6 foot long shovel. He was just going through them. It is what it is. I mean,
God gave me a gift. He made me an excellent shoveler.
yeah, right. And I've played games where like cultists or deep ones show up, and I've got like a shotgun, and I'm just like,
But yeah, the thing I talked about, what do you call it, with the Punk Cthulhu was, what do you call it, that you could also take out some of the supernatural monsters. What's the point?
The thing that people do, I think that's wrong, and this is, of course, my opinion.
Big list.
Wrong, is they insist on putting the actual like major cosmic beings in like every adventure.
Oh
I
yeah,
insist on pudding.
Never.
I love pudding. I insist on pudding too.
But
Yeah, it's got to be the like
is
the
getting
big bad of a
I saw
nice
that.
long adventure.
Yes, Sachi, I saw that. It's in Kickstarter, and it's being made by the same company that makes the Conan board game. And I can say the Conan board game is pretty cool, and the miniatures are amazing. So if they use that same quality for Berserk, it's going to be really good. But yeah, if the players are going after, say, okay, there's a whole campaign, the Mask of,
Narwhal.
yeah, and that could take you 6 months to play with a group before, and you would basically just be dealing with cults and maybe the odd, minor kind of monster, a ghoul or something. But I mean, so yeah, I think if you want to throw like a greater deity, which I've been guilty of in every adventure, you're going to end up with what you end up. Insane adventures because Yog-Sothoth, if he even touches you, can just disintegrate you down to your atoms or some shit. But yeah, it's mostly about the cultists.
It's supposed to be mostly about the cultists.
Yeah, it should be.
Mostly. It's about the cultists mostly.
Do you know what? I'll tell you the biggest thing though. I had to learn, and I learned it, and it turned out good. Is if you're used to playing Call of Cthulhu in the 20s, and then your group convinces you to try a modern one, which in 7th edition it gives you rules for all of it. And then all of a sudden, all the investigators got cell phones and access to laptop computers with internet, and so you no longer have to worry about the guy that goes to the library to search over microfilms for like 9 hours, trying to find some story about some shit. It's like one of the players is like, well, I'm going to Google search this.
I will say that this thing I do like about Call of Cthulhu is it encouraged players to research and teach them to. Because I had several, well, not several games, but like I had like experience in other games, like in D&D, and like players take for granted that the NPC who gives them the quest knows everything.
Yes.
But it's like, I just have this problem, and I know these things, please fix.
Well, the joke with Call of Cthulhu is that the most survivable character is the one with the highest speed, and one of the most useful characters is the guy with the highest library use. So it's not like D&D where you need a big burly fighter in heavy armor. No, you need a guy that can research the
Ichabod Crane.
And the speed thing is just, if your speed's greater than everyone else in the group's speed, you're going to live probably. Because at some point when it comes time to run from whatever you're messing with, you want to be the one that can outrun everyone.
Or if you burn down the manor and it has like an alchemist lab or a med lab, then the fire you start is so quickly turns into an explosion.
Yeah, same thing, really. Alchemist lab, meth lab. I mean, honestly, we're talking about combining arcane chemicals to create a thing, right? So,
Turns out the road to Nirvana was in Kentucky.
what I was talking about with all the copper wire getting stolen, that's Pikeville, Kentucky. That's literally like you can almost throw a rock into West Virginia from Pikeville, and West Virginia is nothing but meth heads. I mean, that whole state is meth heads. They are the worst. Like 90% of West Virginians are on freaking welfare and SNAP and every other damn thing. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You love West Virginia, but dude, sometimes you just got to move to where the jobs are. I mean, that's what I did. Sometimes that's just what you got to do. I love Kentucky, but sometimes you just got to go where you can get work. And no, they stay back in those hollers doing their stupid shit, collecting their welfare checks or whatever. And, you know, whatever. It's like Call of Cthulhu shit right there. Your human cleric died last Friday. The sea ghost in sinister secret of the salt marsh. Yep.
It's a good adventure.
What's really a death trap for that is when you find the pirate ship and then you get attacked by like 40 Sahagin. There's no reason.
Oh, again, I'm sharing an image with you because you made me think of it again. I mentioned the other day, and I went and found it for you.
Nice. Because that is just a Virginia slaps kids first.
It's like that just killed me the first time I saw it. I was like, that's an excellent use of a custom license plate.
And it's even got like the handprints in red. Yeah, the sinister secret, if you don't do things right and have the right party and understand what's going on, that last big fight, it will be the end of you most of the time.
Yeah, I do like Sinister Secret so much. My thing that I'd like to do is like have that as a prequel to what's the one with the island, like where
X1.
Island
Dread.
Hate
Yeah,
that
a lot
shit.
of people have done stuff like that. Now that you've got
Another good one.
what are you going to do, you know?
was like it. I don't actually remember if it's in the book itself, but doesn't Sinister Secrets end with like, oh, now you have a ship and there is like a treasure map.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I mean, to quote some people who were very, very inspirational in my life when I was young, now that you got the album, what are you going to do with it, bitch? No. NWA.
Sorry, what?
NWA.
Oh, I don't listen to that garbage.
Well, I was 16, you know. This is what all the cool kids are doing.
Maybe in Florida.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that's the one where Easy is doing the comedic rap, you know, the easily approach the microphone because I ain't no joke. And it's just a funny rap, you know. But anyway, that's not what we were talking about. X1, also a great adventure, but if you're not prepared for those assholes living in the volcanic water, you'll be in trouble pretty quick because that charm power they have is, again, no joke.
Yeah. And James, the only rap group I really listened to was the Beastie Boys.
I mean, yeah, that's everybody though. I mean, and I'm not like trying to be like whatever. I'm just saying everyone back then listened to the Beastie Boys. I mean, Licensed to
When
Ill.
is back when? Because remember, I'm like half to 2/3 younger than you
86,
guys.
87, whenever Licensed to Ill came out, that shit was
86, 87, 88. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, I wasn't in the world back then.
There was going to be a TPK at the Lizardman Mound. Dangers at Dunwater, another great one. Well, that whole series is great.
I don't think I've ever done that one.
So that's how it's spelled. I always thought it was DUNG water.
Dung water?
Dung.
No.
Which
And
is
Dangers of Dung water.
Yeah, dun is a color actually.
Dun-colored wolves.
Like
Well,
dun,
it also means, doesn't it also mean wall?
it could mean wall. I mean, it depends what language. I mean, my favorite adventure outside of B2, which I think everyone should play, is probably B10, Night Star Terror.
Never even seen that one in the wild.
That's the one that on the cover it's got like a Hungarian or a Cossack riding, and he's turned around shooting a bow at goblins on wolves chasing him.
Never seen it.
And it come with a big fold out map of a whole settlement, and it come with like punch out counters so you could play like a whole battle, and
Oh yeah, that one.
it had a very Slavic kind of feel to it. Like all of the human characters had like, Slavic names.
Well, that's also because canonically it takes place in Karamikos, which is
Romania.
basically a Slavic country ruled over by Prussians.
Yeah, it's Romania. Karamirkos was supposed to be Romania.
I love when they decided to change the name from Specularum to Miros because they didn't know what a Specularum was in modern vernacular.
Yeah, and then not until like there came women onto the staff and they like played along, and it was like, why are you giggling?
Why is the name of the capital city of Karamikos the thing my gynecologist uses on me? What are you talking about? We don't know that we're guys. So they
It was
renamed
supposed
it
to mean watchtower in Latin.
Miros. Oh, okay, Miros. It's Greek.
Well, I mean, that in particular, the adventure at least was made by the UK. It was one of the UK adventures they made. But yeah, I don't even remember who actually started the whole Mystera thing. Like, I don't know who created it. I don't know
Well,
who created it.
became
It was
Mystara
the known
because,
world. It was the known world.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then they decided to call it Mystara when Bruce Hurd took it over, and in my opinion, ultimately ruined it. I love the known world. It's so fascinating and minimal. Like, it's like, this is a country like this. This is a country like this, and you can make up your own shit. And then they started doing the gazetteers, and some of them are good, but most of them are just way too much information. It's like, and I'm the guy who likes to write backgrounds, and I'm saying there's way too much information. You know what I mean? And then the goofy shit started. And the goofy shit really annoyed me. Like the theme park on one of the islands, it's a theme park for adventurers.
I
Really?
take it you don't like the Beastman book then.
I don't like the Orcs of Tharbad or
one.
whatever. Yeah, where they start referring to Troll Hatton. And
Because that was the silly face of TSR.
Yes, it was. So you got the Badlands suddenly turned into like puns about New York and monsters. What? Huh?
Okay, I wouldn't have caught that one.
The
Yeah.
Future Enterprises board game, Battlestar Galactica, was not a bad board game at all. But you need multiple players, and it's basically a game where you're trying to figure out who the Cylons are.
Yeah, it's based on the modern Battlestar Galactica, so it can fuck off and die. Oh,
Keep
sorry.
On Borderlands is the perfect starting campaign every time. You can always just change everything around. But you can print out the dungeon map and literally cut the dungeon sections, like kobolds, whatever, cut them out from the main map and rearrange them however you want, or just change the monsters that's in them, but leave the setting or the placement the same.
I mean, my favorite way of running it is separate parts of the dungeon into different areas in the same hex, and like have them either be barrows or ruins, and like, so you can also encounter warring factions between the dungeons instead of like it all being mushed together.
Yeah, that was kind of a thing with B2 because like the hobgoblins were abusing the goblins and they were at war with the orcs, but it was all being like the cap was being held onto the pot by the priests in the evil temple, who had actually summoned all of the evil humanoids there. So when people were like, "What the hell is this?" This they got a name for it, like a mystery house adventure or whatever it is. There's a reason all those different tribes of humanoids are there, and it's because of the evil priests who may or may not, depending on who you talk to, be priests of the god of entropy. What was his name? Thrazdun or Tharizdun, however you want to say it. And Gygax later made another adventure that was all about Tharizdun. And also you had the evil priests that were in the castle that, would agree to hire on with the party. And then when the worst opportunity for the party came, they would betray you.
Yeah, that's a thing I heard people talk about recently, that in your guys, when you grew up with your modules and so forth, was a lot of people betraying each other. Usually the first NPC you met.
Well, I mean, there's always the meme that was popular for a long time of the priest who's supposed to be a good guy, but it's actually not.
So every Stephen King novel.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that was kind of in there. However, the best treasure in that entire adventure is all in the castle.
Right. Well, what about the hermit had some cool stuff.
Yeah, he had some okay stuff like a dagger of venom and whatever, but
The
the
best
evil
stuff is in the keep.
the evil priest we're talking about had +3 plate mail. That's insane. For a second or third level fighter to get his hands on +3 plate mail right off the bat, it's like, okay, now I got shield too. Guess what? I'm never getting hit by goblin. It's just not happening.
Yeah, just when if you bump into the Minotaur, you're gonna have a bad day.
Maybe not. I mean, your armor class with that, in theory, could be in the negatives. It would be in the negatives.
Yeah, just
So
with
take
the
down
shield and plate.
2 and go ahead and deduct 3 from that.
Neg one.
That's a neg 1. All of a sudden, the Minotaur with his THAC0 of freaking 14 or 15, he needs a 16 or 17 or whatever,
Were there whites in that one, or am I thinking
There
something
were.
else? Okay.
As a matter of fact, one of the random encounters that could happen while you're traveling across country, if you rolled really, really bad, you could encounter 1d6 whites.
Yeah.
Now,
Time to run.
imagine being a level 1 or level 2 group and wandering into 6 whites in the middle of the night in a dark forest. Guess who's dead? All of you.
What does fuck
Everybody.
mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Hey,
you're all
you keep that up, and the entire countryside is going to be overrun with whites.
yeah, because
And that's how crusades happen. Hey,
Hey.
here come the paladins. Here come the clerics. It's gonna be a fun night.
I mean,
Remember, crying is a free action.
yeah, crying is a free action. You
And
know, like,
also
that's a-
playing
I mean, from Critical
flute while your
Role, but I
party
still
team
like it.
dies. Playing
Dean,
flute
I
while
have to
your,
immortalize
team
that.
dies.
I'm stealing that.
It's
that
from
is so
Critical Role.
funny.
Let's do Crying's reaction. It's from Critical Role, man.
Is it? Oh, damn. Never mind.
It's still
Uh-huh.
a great line.
you can
Yeah,
still
I'm not
do
using it.
that.
Fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. I'm surly.
You know what, Shadow? You are a hipster.
Oh, he's such a
Talk about
hipster. He
You
was a
are
hipster before hipsters were cool.
I mean, he's wearing black
They were
and he has
never
long
cool.
hair.
I mean, what I mean by that, and I have another friend that's kind of that way, is like no matter what the majority likes, he always likes the obscure thing that most people have never even heard of.
Well, it's because I like that stuff. When it first came out, I still like it.
So like we're sitting around talking about, Marvel superheroes. You're talking about Chill, which most people have never even seen. I mean, you do that.
I like a lot of old shit.
Keep
that
right
nobody's
on
ever
doing
seen.
that. I'm just saying, you are a damn hipster. It's because
Yeah.
you're old and you've got money and you've got everything none of us could ever afford.
Yep.
I couldn't afford it back in the day either. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? Catch one senator in a compromising video, and look at your life now.
Right?
It wasn't a senator. You know, I
Uh-huh.
did pick up Marvel superheroes just so because that was something I couldn't get back in the day. I couldn't afford it, couldn't find it, and nobody wanted to play it. Even if I did, it was. Thank you, thank you. And V&V was an easier sell because you made up your own characters, and it was $10 versus 25 or whatever it was for the box set.
Yeah, I still have
And
vigilantes.
Kuchi, you are not what do you call it? Improving Shadow's image of being rich. You're saying his unboxing videos are great.
Yeah. Well, you have to remember when Shadow and I were young, a brand new off the shelf box set of Gamma World was $19 and change,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, I know.
So,
Like,
I mean,
why do
I
you
can't
think-
afford
if
my
you
hobby
somebody's
right
head
now. I
for
could afford it when I was a
7-Eleven for
teenager.
$20.
Okay. You see
Hold on.
that guy right there?
Yeah.
I bought Cyberpunk 2013 when it came out in 1988, I think it was. Because I walked into my comic shop and there was this box set, and I'm like, "Oh, what's this Cyberpunk?" Oh, okay. And I took it off and I was reading the back. Oh, this is interesting. How much is it? $10. And I ran to the cash to buy it because it was a box set for $10.
I
Which was a
really,
fucking miracle.
even though it's not my even in my top 10 favorite genres, if you will, I regret every day having sold my box set of that. It had so much good stuff in it.
Notice he had to put the hipster comment at the start, though. He couldn't just say, "I regret selling my box set," even though it's not what I'm into, because I'm into way cooler shit, because I'm into shit y'all never even heard of. I was into this before you ever existed. Fuck off, hipster.
It's not that the idea.
You know, I'm into Blue Oyster Cult. No one's into Blue Oyster Cult, but I'm into Blue Oyster Cult. Like, you're such a
No,
fucking hipster.
no.
That is true. No, just the
Shadow-
whole thing kind of grosses me out.
Blue
If
Oyster
Shadow
Cult
were on
did a bunch of
Arrakis-
like saying like "Don't fear the Reaper."
Right.
Yeah, that song sucks.
If Shadow were on Arrakis, he would be telling people how he's into a band called the Sandworms, and they're pretty underground, so you probably never heard of them.
Probably never heard of them. Yeah.
Yikes.
I saw them in concert at Stitch Tabor. Whatever. Fuck, no one cares, man. Shut up.
Right.
Shut up.
Oh, that's terrible.
Right.
That
I mean,
does
it
raise
does-
the question.
It doesn't make me dislike you at all or anything, but
No.
it is a funny observation.
Yeah,
Hey, we can't all agree on everything, and most of you guys are wrong.
It's okay. You can see Shadow. If you're on the deep web, you can see Shadow's other unboxing videos. Those are usually crates from Haiti, but whatever.
No, that is so not
Shadow wrecks his car and the trunk pops open and like 28
Like seven-
women jump out.
28 Haitian women jump out and run for the hills.
No, come on. They'd be Mexican. Get it right.
Mm.
I like to think
That's right.
his screen name
Still
is
not
still
true.
Shadow, but it's like in quotation mark.
Huh?
Yeah, on your deep web account.
Anyway, though, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the new Battlestar Galactica either, but the board game is okay, Satya. I mean, it's okay. You know, it's a
The
good
only
board.
thing I remember from the new Battlestar Galactica is how they kept coming up with different word for like what do you call it? Swear words.
That's from the old one.
Yeah,
is
they
it
did
the
it
one-
in
the
the
one
new
like they
one,
say
too,
frack
a
and
little
Arnold
bit.
Sex
Frack and Felgercarb and blast the pogies out of them. That's all from the
Ah.
original show, brother.
My bad.
Yeah, exactly.
new
You
one
fucking
stopped
child.
I'm not adopting anybody.
What the
I'll
new
be your
one
son.
stopped doing is using the actual original Battlestar Galactica units of time.
You don't ever want to be adopted by Shadow. You don't want to be roped into that world because the first 6 years you're in the basement.
Yeah. Have you ever saw the movie Castle Freak? That will
Ain't
be
no
your
party. Ain't no party like a Diddy party because a Diddy party don't stop. That's all I'm saying.
life. Yeah, because you have no choice.
That's so. It's funny because it's the exact opposite of the truth. But
Methink he doth protest too much.
That is why it's funny, Shadow. Because if we all literally thought you were some kind of freak that kept people chained in the basement, we
Making
probably
gay
would hang
porn.
out with you and talk gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
We would have
mean-
returned your backer kit pledge like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Your
shit,
name is not your name is not appearing in my book, so 5 years down the road I can be in trouble. You know.
Yeah, you know what they say. It's all
That
fun
would
and games until
suck.
1 in 10 doesn't like it.
Do you know what? Imagine if Shadow backs your game and then like 10 years from now, somebody does a lot of research and it ends up that Shadow was the creator of Fatal.
They find the bodies buried in the yard. Fuck. Fuck.
Hey,
So
you know,
Shadow, why did you release a second edition? One of the few things you did was remove the anti-Semitic ring.
Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
Fatal has 2 editions. One of them, the first edition had like, what do you call it, a magic item that basically turned you into a caricature of a Jewish person.
I know nothing of that game, so
Yeah. No interest in that game.
As for Sodja's question concerning Stargate, yes, but not all of it.
no. The only thing I liked was the movie, and I could kind of get into what was it, Stargate Universe. That was kind of cool, but the other stuff I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fatal is just like a legendary thing that exists that no one should ever deal with. It's like it's like a DM, game designer, whatever the hell he was, got possessed by like 12 demons and wrote a role-playing game. You know, I mean, any game where you have to roll the circumference or how much stuff can fit in your butt is not a game you want to play.
What?
Yeah, there is a table for rolling for anal circumference.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And yes, having a negative
so
value is
repugnant.
a benefit.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's so repugnant.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
you don't need to know the rest, but basically
Yeah,
it
you.
has
nothing. It
weird
just
things and
works.
it's not actually fun to play for the people who have tried it. Because like it is a very janky system.
Oh, and the book is like that thick.
Yeah.
I mean, no detail was left out. And the original cover showed an adventurer and he had killed some people. So the princess was like tied to a wall. And in the little where they talk about the adventure, when they say, okay, you're the fighter, do you rescue the princess, murder the princess, or grape the princess? And it's like, you wrote that down? You thought that was
Wow.
the idea?
None of those should be options. Well, I mean, the first one should be an option, obviously. Should be
No
guilty.
fucking rescuing princesses around here. Let them rescue themselves. They're fucking strong women who don't need no man.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No.
which
Yeah,
is, I was talking with Nerdy Ogre about this, and he was getting into theology and stuff. And it reminded me of when feminism destroyed atheism online.
Oh, Atheism Plus.
Yeah, because all of the Thunderfoot and all those idiots that we always argued with decided to be Atheism Plus, and then some mid chick got offended because some guy asked her up to his
Rebecca something or other,
for coffee, which is
Coochie-
like the most normal thing ever. Hey, would you like to come up to my room for coffee? I mean, that is the most. I mean,
Now look, if he had wandered up to her out of the blue and done that, that's one thing. They'd been talking all night.
yeah, they've been hanging out all night. The guy
And
probably
she's
thought,
the definition of fucking mid, by the way.
yeah. So the guy probably thought maybe you had an end there. I mean, they're hitting it off, they're getting along. Shit, give it a shot. Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
But instead, she accused him of like basically, SA and then all of them just collapsed, and now you no longer ever see any of them. Even the amazing atheist vanished into the woods of Maine or wherever the hell he lived.
I will say, to his credit, the revenge porn that was released of him did not help his case.
Revenge porn? Of the
He had
Amazing
some,
Atheist?
basically he had a relationship with someone, and they did some kinky stuff, and that person released it.
Ew, I don't ever want to see someone that. No,
You don't need to know what it actually
no.
involved. That's why I'm not giving any
No,
details.
stop. Dean, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you?
He's Danish.
Fucking brings up Fatal. His humor lands like a lead balloon. Now he's talking about seeing the Amazing Atheist fucking brown eye. Like, what the hell, man?
I mean, Danish people are into
What's the brown
detail.
eye?
They are into detail.
Shut the fuck up. You know what that
What's
is.
a brown eye? You know what a fucking brown eye is, you lying sack of poo.
Hey,
No, I
Coochie.
Anus.
A chocolate starfish.
Why is that a brown eye?
That's just what people have been calling it since the medieval ages.
And
I guess
sometimes-
it's fair enough.
And the right girl can make it wink at you. Do you understand? Jesus Christ.
No, I don't understand.
What do you do in
There.
Denmark? What do you guys just like throw sperm into a wall and hoping it's an egg? Like, how do you guys procreate over there, for fuck's sake? You guys used to make the best porn in the world in the fucking 70s and 80s. Danish porn was the top shelf porn in the age of home video. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I
What
think
happened
they've
here?
long since
You're
been
welcome, I
surpassed
suppose.
by the Czechs.
They got what by the who?
Czechs.
cereal?
Oh yeah, yeah. Those guys. It's like every other woman in the Czech Republic is a porn actress.
Oh, no, that's the 90s. So okay, the 70s, in the early the early 70s to the mid 80s, before the Americans started mass producing pornography, Denmark ran the fucking show. Like, they had the best, the most. It was insane. Then the Americans took over in the 80s and just started pumping out videotapes like madmen. And then the 90s, that's when the Czech thing happened. That's when like fucking Budapest was like the number one shooting site for fucking porn. I remember I was working in the porn store in those days. Yeah, I was working in the porn store in those days, and we'd get tapes every week, right, from the distributor. And like 90% of them were all shot on location in Budapest, shot on location in Prague, you know?
Sorry, Dungeon Minister. I'm trying to type a message here. I got nothing to do with this conversation.
Why do I hear myself?
I remember I was working.
I don't know, but Dungeon Master will stop talking about that. You don't.
Yeah,
got-
we'll stop. We'll talk about anything else you like. How about we talk?
You know what?
So
Let
what's
me say
Boris
something
and
real quick.
Borderlands?
Let's go back to making fun of fucking Shadow for being a hipster.
Coochie, I'm having Matt from Barrows and Borderlands and the guys from Arduin and I believe Griff Morgan on my show Wednesday to talk about their new Kickstarter. And I'm going to probably have to look into that game. Have you played it?
What
Just
the fuck are you
proving me
talking about?
right. Just proving me right.
What are you fucking talking about?
Well,
Coochie asked about.
Hipster. All I heard was hipster, 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 hipster. That's all I heard.
Coochie was asking, what are your all thoughts on Barrows and Borderlands?
I don't have them because before hearing the name today, I've never heard of Barrows and Borderlands, which is why Shadow's talking about it. Clearly,
It's been out for like a year or so. It's like an old school like an old school / BX version of cross between White Box D&D and Gamma World and Diner.
leave Shadow alone. He makes Conan videos. He can't do that if he's depressed. Oh, and Father Aaron, you're not hearing yourself there. It's your conscience. Listen, my conscience is clean. I will not regret the things or jobs I have had in my life because they have made me the man I am today. So you would just take your moralization to the pulpit, sir. To the pulpit with you, Padre. Looking forward to seeing you at Claricon.
what I was going to say is that Shadow again proves me correct because when 99.9% of people were playing like Greyhawk,
Arduin!
he's into Arduin, which no one ever even heard of.
We played over on this side of the country.
Tecamel. Like,
Oh, fuck that. No.
Well, I have Empire of the Pelothrons, all three.
Yeah, I do too. I hate it.
I'm not a huge
It's
fan,
not as
but
cool as
it's
Arduin because no one plays Arduin. Arduin's for very cool and hippie.
A lot of people played Arduin.
is basically
it
Gamma
was-
World, but
It just goes back so far that most people who did play it are now either with Jesus or dodging pitchforks.
Or Satan.
Or Satan.
I'm so old school. I played Prydain. That was the first campaign world created by Lord Dunsany. Like, what the fuck? Shut up, Shadow.
No, it came out like 1974, 75. So it's pretty damn old.
Shadow,
Yeah.
like, I remember playing war games with H.G. Wells.
I remember when Napoleon got his first set of figs, and I helped him paint them.
Yeah, a little known thing that
That
I
would be
know
awesome.
as a miniature wargamer maniac is H.G. Wells wrote a war game.
Yeah, Little Soldiers or something like that.
Of little.
I've got it
soldiers.
somewhere.
Of
Of course you have it. Of course you fucking have it somewhere. What do you fuck?
And
It must be
Why
nice.
would you-
Must
why
be
would
nice having so much money. You have things that are very expensive. You're like, I have it somewhere. It's around here in my hoard somewhere.
Padre, just remember that.
Why wouldn't you hunt that down if
that-
you were a wargamer?
Bear is from your homeland, your country.
No, I'm not from his homeland. He's an American that moved here.
He's been in Canada long enough.
No,
to be-
that's not how it works. We're not you guys. No, wrong. Wrong.
So then Steven Crowder's still an American.
No, Steven
Well,
Crowder
he
is-
always
no,
was.
he-
One of his parents was from Detroit.
and also, Steven Crowder is an embarrassment to this country. And I wish he would stop telling people he was from here originally.
Well, don't worry. He
Steven
never
Crowder.
says a nice thing about there.
No, he never does. No.
He
Steven
freaking
Crowder.
hates Canada for some reason.
And-
Even when I watch his clips, I'm like, damn, why do you hate Canada?
Because when you grow up in Canada, one of the fastest ways to get yourself ostracized is to be an Americanophile, I guess, or a Yankophile. Like if you're like one of those Canadians that really wants to be American all the time and you don't shut the fuck up about, which I guarantee you Crowder didn't, because you can't shut the fuck up about anything.
True.
His social group was just like, fuck you, shut up. Why don't you go fucking live in America? You love
Wait
it
a
so
second. I
much.
think he grew up in Quebec.
Yeah, he didn't really
He grew up
like
in
have
Montreal.
a choice, you know. I mean, up until he was 17, 18, didn't have a choice. I mean, it's literally, you know, an immutable characteristic.
He had a choice. He could have joined the American Army at 16.
I had a buddy that was half Canadian. He joined
Maybe.
he was in my unit. I loved him. Cybouts. He went back to Canada after he got out of the army, though.
And Holy Diver, I never get depressed. Don't worry about it.
No, he'd have to have a soul for that to happen.
How you doing, Holy Diver?
Leave Shadow alone.
My brother.
I'm fine.
Also, Mr. Diver, look what I am working on right now. That's right. I'm doing some
That
highlights
was so weird, Bear.
on some
This is what he
epic
does.
buildings
Oh my God, I attack him for being
because I ended up getting 2 of the starter
There you
sets.
go. Brown eye. There you go. Now you know, Dean.
Yeah, that your cat's trying to start an OnlyFans.
Exactly.
I ended up getting 2 starter sets, the Martian box set, and then a couple of box sets of the Dark Mechanicum guys. So basically, it's 4 armies. It's Space Marine, Mechanicum, Imperial Guard, and Dark Mechanicum. Because there's an English guy that talks about Epic, and he talks about all the little tricks into building up armies and paying the least amount ever. Yeah, Michigan, Detroit. One of his parents is from Detroit. One of his parents is Canadian. Some of you may be surprised to know that my wife's stepmother is Canadian, born and raised in Alberta somewhere, or Ontario, or wherever the hell it was. Somewhere in the middle part there, you know.
As
Like-
the only Canadian on the panel, my only question is, and?
I was
It
about to
happens
ask
a lot
which
more than
logging
people
camp
think.
does he come from?
Which logging camp? Oh my God.
That
you
was,
know,
Bear, my point was it happens more than people think.
oh no, there's a metric ton of it. We have a ton of Americans living here that relocated. There's a ton of Canadians living. Most
Well,
of
they
your
go back and
entertainment industry is Canadian. You figured that shit out. The Warner Brothers were Canadian,
Right.
all 7 of them. You know, like, yeah, Gavin McInnes is another one. Hmm.
Gavin
She has
That
children.
guy, you know who he is, and I'm not impressed.
No, neither am I. That's like that. How that guy got famous. I'll never. Him and Crowder, two of them. It's like you're not funny. You're just
Gavin
bullies.
McInnes, he got famous for being edgy and saying shit that other people
Yeah.
were afraid to say.
That doesn't make him funny,
which
which he
doesn't
thinks
make
he
it
is.
right. But people were afraid to say it. You know who's all of a sudden this last week or so, the freaking media darling is Nick Fuentes,
That's so weird.
right? I mean, they only hated him like the plague for 12 years, and all of a sudden he's on whatever Bet David's freaking show, multiple episodes, being interviewed
Yeah.
by everybody.
Yeah, Nick
Yeah.
Winters, he's kind of weird in that it's kind of hard seeing him as an edgy boy when he's no longer 18. Like, yeah, it's no longer 2016.
He's a
not
gay
18
Mexican
anymore.
Nazi. Because apparently he had sex with Destiny. Yeah,
There's another piece of shit, by the way.
that is a huge piece of shit right there. That's the guy that said the fire captain that got killed during the
I remember.
assassination deserved it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like, bad tape, bro.
Okay. I'm going to take it back to the thing I keep saying, which is MAGA needs to mean make asylums great again.
I agree.
They let
But
those
yeah,
people loose.
Destiny's name is kind of ironic because, like, he's a short guy, and his name is literally, if you split it apart, is this tiny.
Now, his name is what a stripper has as a name. You know what I mean? Like, next on stage, Destiny. Like, it's, yeah.
I
Candy
agree
with a K.
with Bear. Strippers always have, strippers are either named after gemstones or like Destiny.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, I saw a really cool video on X today. It's in Italy. This guy, I won't say where he's from, is walking down the middle of the road, and there's an unmarked, because Italians love unmarked cop cars, behind him, and they're like honking the horn to try and get him to go off, and he's not fucking doing what they want, so they pull around him, and then the passenger side cop slams his door open into him. The guy turns around, punches the fucking window. The two cops get out. Cop number one is he's like barking in the cop's face, teaches him exactly what happens when you're too close to a cop. Arm to the chest, foot to the back of the leg. Takes the guy down so fucking fast. It's like, I wish American cops could do that again. I miss what American cops.
Oh, they can. I actually saw a cop body slam a really fat lady the other day on Salty Cracker's show.
No.
She hit him, though. To be fair, she threw a punch.
Yeah.
At which point he snatched her up and did like a windmill. It was like some Steve Austin shit. You know?
I think my favorite video I've seen of like someone trying to fight a cop was like where the cop either knew Muay Thai or kickboxing and just went for the guy's legs when the other guy thought they were doing boxing.
My favorite is when they were showing a cop in St. Petersburg, Russia, and he had the guy pulled over and he knocked on the window and told him to roll the window down, and the guy didn't. So the cop punched through the window, grabbed the guy, and pulled him out of the damn Lada. And it's just like, should have rolled the window down, because now you're getting your ass whipping.
So to answer your question, Coochie, who wouldn't have a relationship with Destiny? Well, apparently his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Apparently he's being investigated for some CP on his heart.
Yep. And for and not just that, like talking to underage as well in inappropriate ways.
Yeah, so I mean it's the same old thing. It's like the more a man professes to be like a male feminist, the more likely he is to be a creep.
Oh, George, this was Stone Cold's signature move.
Yeah, flipping everybody off and then like drinking.
And then they give him a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, where you grab you and do the whole
Kick to the cut and then do a DDT neck breaker or a drop neck breaker.
So was he actually from Austin or was he from Canada like other wrestlers?
He's not Canadian, sir.
All right, just making sure.
But Dean, you're not wrong. A lot of wrestlers are from Canada. A lot.
Once again, if our country disappeared, you'd have no entertainment because most of your entertainment is made up from us.
Yeah, you had like the Hart Foundation, the Owens, freaking
Owens.
Owen Hart.
Yeah, the Hart family.
Yeah,
Hart Foundation
family.
was Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart.
Like even like when The Rock decided to stop being a Canadian football player and become a wrestler, he trained with those guys.
I did not know The Rock was Canadian.
He's
He
not.
wasn't.
The Rock is
Well,
not Canadian.
Here's the thing, like if you try out for the NFL and they don't really want you, sometimes they send you to the Canadian Football League, hoping that maybe if you get a little bit of, play time under your belt, you might improve.
Yeah. Also, a lot of guys who are suddenly like, off a team in the States but still have some years left in them, they'll trade up to the CFL.
Which apparently doesn't pay for shit
No.
because it's Canada and they would wear a chop.
So, Shadow, what's your opinion of the Day of the Rake?
I have never heard of it.
Fair enough.
What? It's an obscure thing and you don't have an opinion and or collection of it?
I'm waiting.
It happens,
I'm waiting for the day of the great handkerchief that will come and wipe the entire universe away. No? John Malkovich, leader of the Church of the Great freaking Sneeze or whatever. Hitchhiker's Guide.
I think I'm too young for this.
Yeah. Yeah, the doctor that wanted the gun, that did the emotions, he was the leader of a church, and they worship like the Great Nose or some shit, and they're praying for the coming of the handkerchief or whatever.
So is this a South Park, a Futurama, or a Family Guy joke?
South Park had Canadians replaced with the Danish. Wow.
I'm not your
What's up,
pal,
nerdy?
buddy.
I'm not your buddy.
What's up,
pal.
Untrackable?
I'm not your buddy, pal.
Yeah. And for some reason, Stan's mom absolutely hated Canadians. I'm not sure why.
Oh, Kyle's mom's a big fat bitch. Big fat bitch. She's a big fat bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kyle's mom. And
What?
what? And Stan had an adopted brother who was Canadian.
Yes.
What happened to him?
He grew up. I mean, there were a couple episodes where it showed where they'd grown up and he was like doing his own thing, You could tell he's Canadian though, because he had a floppy head.
So I need your opinion on this one from Earl, Angry Tabletop Nerd. Canada hasn't been Canada since the time of the Mackenzie brothers.
He's allowed to do what he wants.
Okay. I just needed a Canadian expert knowledge on if that was correct or not.
I don't give a flying fuck what Americans think about my country or us as a people, so long as you stay on your side of the fucking border with your else.
The Rock's father was a sailor from Canada. I know his mom was Samoan.
His father was Rocky Johnson.
Rocky Johnson. A Chew, soon son of a Sneeze. Yeah. Well, I mean, as a Canadian, I can agree with your stance because I don't care what anyone thinks about America.
Exactly.
I know we kick ass.
The difference is we hear what you guys think about us all the fucking time.
Well, so do
And
we.
And all you seem to know about us is how to mispronounce Putin, Trailer Park Boys, and the Mackenzie brothers. Like, that's just never ending. It's like a fucking constant cycle for you guys.
Because those are all the best parts of your country.
Really?
You really have nothing else.
Okay. Well, we'll turn off the water and the electricity and see if you guys change your tune real quick.
I bet that water gets turned back on.
I bet you it'd be a fight.
I disagree.
No, I don't.
I think the Michigan National Guard could conquer your whole country.
I don't think they could. I think we were looking for 33 for with you guys. We'll do the fucking hat trick on you assholes on invading us.
Yeah.
It's okay. I understand how dangerous Canadians are. Someone told me about American Big Brother versus Canadian Big Brother. American Big Brother, they like cry, oh, how could they betray me? American Big Brother is like, what did he expect?
Holy fuck! Rocky
I'm
Johnson's from
kidding.
Amherst, Nova Scotia. I stand corrected, Cal. He is absolutely from Amherst. The Rock's father was born in Amherst, Amherst,
There you go.
Nova Scotia. That's where I'm from.
There you go.
Congratulations. How do you feel about this?
I don't have a feeling about it, you fucking psychoanalyst.
It's like, is he trying to psycho?
Tell me how you really feel about it.
I feel Denmark needs its ass kicked. That's what I feel about it.
Oh.
It happened before, it will happen again.
Nerdy Ogre, you got a point. Red Green is pretty good too. We can add Red Green to the list of things we think Canada produces that we like.
You like Nickelback.
I love Nickelback.
They're Canadian.
And also Bryan Adams, who you're always making fun of me.
Yeah. No, not a fan of either of those things.
Nope.
Of course you're not. They actually
Listen.
got gold records and shit.
I'm agree with the hipster, okay, on this one.
Well, you do what you got to do and live in shame for it. Because, if no one ever had heard of Nickelback,
The world would be a better place.
Shadow would have every one of their freaking albums.
If no one
If
had
they
ever
were like
heard of
some pub
Nickelback.
band that like never got famous, Shadow would be like, "Hey, have you ever heard of Nickelback?"
Look at this photograph.
That is fair. That is fair.
But
I
instead,
would-
they've got a shit ton of platinum
It's
albums.
Nickelback
and
smoking
stuff,
grass.
so,
I would say this though: a world where no one's heard about Nickelback. Well, that's just some kind of dream world you're talking about now.
Yes, they're so terrible that they can fill up stadiums.
Not anymore. No one gives a fuck about them anymore. And most of the people who liked them were housewives. Think about that.
Well, technically, I am a housewife, so
Oh,
So what's for dinner?
I don't cook, but I do the floors and I clean the toilets and stuff.
Welcome back, Cal.
yeah, George Flaherty is fucking hilarious.
But that's because even though I am a very traditionalist kind of husband, I also understand that my wife makes like 10 times more than I do and pays most of the bill. So fair's only fair. Plus, I don't want my wife touching poop in a toilet. What, come on, Whereas me, I worked in the underground freaking utilities forever, putting in sewer mains and shit. So don't bother me a bit.
Yeah, I got a mother-in-law to do all the cleaning around here. It
So
was awesome.
racist.
Today she was cutting down trees in the backyard. I was like, fuck, cool.
You remind me of the Red Hot Chili Pepper song "Sexy Mexican Maid."
Are
Wow.
you hitting on him?
Do you remember that from Blood Sugar Sex Magic?
No, I can't stand those guys.
That'd be like 95.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers is one of those bands where I have no idea what they're singing unless I'm actually reading the lyrics because it all like blends together to me.
Well, I can help
You can be assured it's about California.
Exactly.
Yeah, and something about humping a bicycle.
Bear nailed it. The song is about California, how much they love California, and doing heroin under a overpass somewhere in LA.
You can have both of them, Nerdy Ogre. You can have both of them.
No.
I think Justin Bieber might be Canadian, though.
He is, and you can have him.
We
Take
don't
and
want him.
take Celine while you're at him.
Is he still alive? Or did he get an OD?
Justin
still alive.
Bieber looks like the guy you don't want to give his paycheck to on Friday too early because you know he'll leave.
He looks like the guy you don't want to have behind you in line at this fucking 7-Eleven at midnight. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you go ahead. You go first, man. You just don't want him behind you.
So James, did he turn into an Eskimo? What are you saying?
You're acting up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's frozen again.
You're Zach.
We're taking the longest drink ever.
That's a great ad
He
picture.
looked
though.
very worried. And now he's judging us. Which wouldn't be the first time.
Now he's making Google eyes.
Now he's shocked again.
I know he's got the AOC crazy eyes going on. Oh no.
And they changed the name of the Edmonton Eskimos to the Edmonton Elks because Eskimo is a bad word.
Oh, I thought it just were a general term for people who were indigenous to the polar regions.
No, those are the Inuit.
Ah,
Eskimo was an insult that was created by the southern natives against them. And so it's like the equivalent of like now it's become like the N word for the Inuit, basically.
so it's like Canadians call Americans
Yeah.
Americans.
What?
I said, there I am.
No, Dean, what did you say Canadians call Americans what?
Oh, Americans. Because that often sounds like an insult.
No, we call them Yankees.
Ah,
Yankees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
the
that only
Yanks.
applies to like
No. You only give a shit about that. We see you all as Yankees.
yeah, but
The
that's so inaccurate.
Well, you know what? If maybe you had been bombarded by our media presence for the last 80 years, the way we've been bombarded by yours, you'd have a fine definition understanding of the differences of Canadian cultures between Newfs, Maritimers, Western Canadians, French Canadians, what have you. But you don't. We're all just Canucks to you guys. Well, you're just Yanks to us.
See, that's not true though, because we divide you by English or French.
Yes, and then call us all snow Mexicans.
I don't know when that got started, but it is kind of funny.
When I worked in when I was in film, the American crews that would come up referred to us as Mexicans who spoke English.
That's
couple.
retarded.
See, I don't even understand that because
That's
We're
retarded.
cheap. We're cheap and we work hard.
okay, I get that. That's not
Yeah, but there's so many other things that are different between the two of you guys.
well.
Again,
It's so vastly different.
see my earlier point.
Coochie, good man. That's I take the garbage out.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
put
mean, how
that-
hard is that? I mean, the trash cans usually weigh more than they do. You know.
Well, I mean, if you did things right.
See you, Sacha.
See you, Satya. Sleep
See you
well.
tomorrow, man.
Never heard of them, Coochie. Don't know.
Eskimo cowboy.
Oh, wait. Shadow, do you have their box set somewhere on your shelf somewhere?
Never heard of it. Nice, but no.
I've started the Legend of Shadow, King of the Hills.
Guys, it's been going on. I mean, since I started live streaming. With you
No. There's never heard of them. There's a band called Electric Callboy from Germany.
You don't
that
even
does
want
sound
to
like a
even,
thing Germans would do.
yeah, you don't even want to know what they're into. Yeah.
But yeah. Speaking of Shadow being a hipster, I'm sure there's like a hurdy-gurdy, like off scream he can take out anytime.
No.
Oh, I found Eskimo Callboy. Guess what? They're also Germany from Castrop Rauxel, Nordheim, Westfalen, Germany.
I don't speak German.
Well,
Yeah.
Westphalia, isn't that like near Bavaria? Not that matters. I don't even know why I brought it up. But
Isn't it a type of camper, a Westphalia?
they did make a VW Westphalia, which was like a modernized combi. But I don't think they sold as good as the old buses did. I had a 71 combi with the pop top. Man, chick magnet. You know what I mean? It's just a forest green Volkswagen bus with a pop top and the back bench seat folded down into like a double bed. And it had all the cabinets on the inside to put, blankets and condoms and stuff.
But James, Shadow is supposed to be the rich one.
I bought this thing for $350 off of a biker. And then I spent probably another $1,000 rebuilding the engine from the bottom up. Like I literally had to remove the engine, which wasn't hard because the 1600cc engine weighs about 100 and something pounds, maybe. So I climbed up under it on my slide thing, disconnected it from transmission, dropped it on my chest and slid back out under it, and then rolled off of it and carried it in and put it on my dining room table and just broke it apart. I mean, they're really like a lawnmower engine. I replaced the 40 millimeter jugs with 64 mils, put a new oil pump in it, a new drive shaft, or not drive shaft, crankshaft. And then,
So where is it now?
I sold it to a Spanish lady. Oh man, decades ago for about 5 times what I paid and had into it.
Okay, that's fair then.
But she was like kind of wealthy. Her husband owned a company, and
It's California. They had a kid named Jackie. You know, they were
well,
hipsters.
who knows?
They were going to follow Blue Oyster Cult on tour. They needed something to sleep in.
I think
Have you guys ever seen any of those van life videos of those e-thoughts? They just go from place to place, living in a vehicle like that.
I think that no.
I've only seen the videos where they get arrested and or someone tries to rob them. Those are the only. I don't watch their regular shit, but I've seen them show up in some of my cop videos. Why? Are you thinking about a new branch out career for your film industry there, Shadow? What?
No, it's got to be an absolutely miserable existence.
Well, yes.
Being an ice road trucker, those guys probably make like $300,000 a year.
No. I mean
e-thought campers.
Yeah, like van living.
Oh, living in a van? Yeah. I mean,
Down by the river.
you know what that's called? That's called being homeless.
Right.
But no, Bear, the lady was Puerto Rican. They had a lot of money, a beautiful house. And for some reason, she was in the market for a Volkswagen bus. And she wanted a specific, with the pop top tint and the whole 9 yards. And she was paying money. And by then I had my Saturn SR2, which I loved. It was when Saturn was an independent company. And I bought the little sports coupe, and so I sold the Volkswagen.
Who's renovating?
That's my wife in the kitchen.
Is she angry about something?
No, she's just heavy-handed.
Oh, okay.
Well, she is Danish.
Yes. So
So she's angry about something. Got it.
when she moves with purpose. She is my little Valkyrie.
So, James, I have a question concerning something in your background. You don't have to go up and get it. But on top of the shelf to your left, there is like a box with like a ring on it. Where on top there's a red box.
Yeah.
What's the thing with the ring on it?
That is Dune Uprising.
Okay. It's just I wasn't sure if it was Dune or like if it was a Dark Soul thing or.
I bought Dune Imperium. We played a lot. Then Dune Uprising came out, so I bought that. And we liked it so much that I then bought the Dune Uprising Advanced whatever, which replaces all of the stupid meeples with actual little plastic soldiers and stuff. That's one of the few war type games that my wife plays with me. But yeah, so it's basically the difference between Dune Imperium and Dune Uprising is with Dune Uprising, 6 people can play.
Yeah.
So otherwise, it's about the same thing. I do, however, also have the Spacing Guild expansion. So,
Well, gentlemen, in the immortal words of Leffold, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Take care, man.
See
Enjoy
ya.
your
It
hibernation.
was a fun time.
I think, laughs were had.
What?
Laughs were had.
Indeed. Good laughs, deep laughs. Now the priest can come back. I'm leaving with my dirty conscience.
Have a jolly old time.
A jolly old time. Sounds like you just jumped out of a Dickens novel.
I do that sometimes. It's a little awkward.
I mean,
What are you, Gumby now?
he was one of the greatest writers of all time, though. So at least that's what people say. I know that I love Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So there you go.
It also helped establish one of the two fundamental rules of a Muppet movie.
What's
If
that?
there's a real life actor, they either have to treat the Muppets as fellow actors, and then we learn with the what's that guy from Rocky Horror Show?
Curry.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Tim
Yeah,
Curry.
Tim Curry. So there's the first method, and then there's the second method, which Jim Curry employed, that he acts himself like a Muppet. Those are the
Yeah.
two
He is a Muppet.
Muppet live action.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
I mean, the guy they had in Muppet Family Christmas is just a consummate professional in everything. He was in Zulu Dawn. He's been in everything. And yeah, he literally treated the Muppets like they existed.
And Kuchi, to answer your question, never trust someone who hoards sheep.
Who I have a
Uh,
shirt that says, "Will anybody trade 2 sheep for something?" And it's just got 2 sheep on it.
Yeah, but
I've
he
never- I
asked
never
what
played it,
all
never-
everyone's thought of Settlers of Catan.
Let me tell you a story. One time I was playing Settlers of Catan on Facebook, back when you could play Settlers of Catan on Facebook with basically anyone.
Yeah.
And a Swedish woman joined the game, and we're playing the game. And I told her, I said, "Have you ever noticed that all of the settler meeples are like all these different colors, but the native meeple that runs everything is black?" And she immediately quit the game. The first copy of it I got, I used to call it the Whitey game, because it's basically Europeans landing on an island and you've got that one black meeple run around stealing everything. It's like, whoever made this was racist. Now in new ones, that meeple's gray or brown or something. I think gray. But in the original ones, yeah, the bandit, as they call him now, not the native, the bandit, was a black Pong. And anywhere you put him, if you rolled that number,
Take care, Kuchi.
Nothing happened.
Wednesday at 5 Pacific Standard Time.
Have a good one, Kuchi.
have a good one, Coochie. Yeah, like you couldn't
And I'm going
get.
to go download that now that I know that I can.
You're going to download what?
Barrows and Borderlands.
What if it's like bunnies and barrows or whatever?
No, it's like a BX version of Gamma World with magic and psionics and dying Earth kind of tropes, from what I understand.
Well, that
It
is
looks very
definitely
like Thundar the Barbarian, to be honest.
right.
But it's all done in like the original white box style of little digest books.
Yeah, like I said, that's definitely what we need more of.
Do you mean that, or was that sarcasm? I need to be sure.
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. I'm so sick and
Right.
tired of every knucklehead on the planet trying to make the white box fit every genre. And it's like, it doesn't. Stop. It barely fit the genre it was designed for, which is why they immediately went to the Holmes edit. And then after that, immediately went to the Moldvay Cook edit. Because the reality of the white box is Gygax and company were getting letters from all over everywhere complaining how no one knew how to play the game because it was so poorly written they couldn't figure it out.
I do remember that from like reading.
Everyone
I would
wasn't
say
much
people are like
different.
10 years older than you, their account of it. That like that it was hard to keep consistent.
Yeah,
Between
because it was the way it was written was so all over the place. Then they had to add the cleric because originally there was no cleric. It was just a mage, thief, and fighting man.
No,
Yeah.
no. It was the other way around. There was no thief.
Okay, you're probably right then.
Yeah, it was
But
originally
the
like
point
a
I'm getting
mage,
at is
fighter, and cleric. Yeah.
White Box isn't even the best version of the game.
Oh no, it's
It's
probably the
trying.
worst.
So if I were going to make a Heartbreaker, uh, based on something, I do what all the other people have done, which is use BX because it was the best version of Basic. And pretty much everyone in the world would agree with that.
Best version of what? Basic?
Of Basic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was never a fan. AD&D. That's me.
Yeah, but we're not talking about AD&D. We're talking about Basic. And just because you liked AD&D doesn't mean you can't acknowledge the fact that BX finally put Basic together in a way that was usable. Of course, then the Metzer version, Beckman came out, and that was honestly, if you were a new player, that was the one you wanted. Unfortunately, I'd already been playing AD&D by then. But the Metzer version, especially with the little choose your own adventure where you got to fight Bargle and shit, if you played that choose your own adventure and followed it, by the time you were done, you were ready to DM the game. You know what I mean? That's what makes the Metzer version so special. Is that, yeah, it really, really took a new player and said, hey, I'm going to teach you how to play games.
I think the only thing I really liked out of that one was the Immortal set.
Well, I mean, you do like to play high level, high magic campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I never messed with any of it because, like I said, by the time Metzer came out, I was already playing AD&D, and I wasn't going to be like, oh, I'm going to spend money on all these box sets when I'm already playing, AD&D. So it's not like I hate AD&D. I love AD&D,
it was the
first edition. But BX is the best Basic set that was ever written. However, Metzer is the best set for a new player because, it holds your hand. It really does. But, of course, in the Metzer D&D, you could go up to 36 level. You could become an immortal. You could, it was crazy. You could literally just do anything. Top 5 Christmas carols. George C. Scott, that is my favorite one, Nerdy Ogre.
Scrooge's my favorite.
Yep, number 2. Scrooged, that's definitely on there. Not Quantum Leap for me.
I
For
don't know
me,
what
number
Quantum Leap
4
is.
would be the one with Patrick Stewart. And then number 5 would probably be the old black and white original. I like that one a lot too.
Actually, the Christmas Carol was just originally like a book, or was that originally a movie? I don't know. Actually.
No, it was a book written back
right.
in the Victorian age in England by a guy named Dickens. Who, as I said earlier, Dean, goes down in history as one of the greatest writers of all time.
Yeah.
Who actually, because he learned to write when he was very young, he got a job at a cannery. And instead of like the other little children his age having to work, on machines getting stuff ripped off, his job was to write the labels. So he lucked out. Because, Victorian England, if you were over 10, you had a job.
Yeah.
That's just how it was, right? So, which is why the British ended up conquering the New World.
I think it's a little more to do than everyone worked.
No, actually, here's the deal. By the time the conquest of the New World was going on, right? France and Spain were still both monarchies, but not parliamentary monarchies. They were total monarchies, right? England, being a parliamentary monarchy, meant that the people were free. They could go wherever they wanted. They didn't have to ask the king, right? So the British just started flooding into the New World. The French couldn't do that because your average Frenchman was bound to the land as a serf. Well, until the revolution when they started cutting everybody's heads off, right? And the same for the Spaniards. And that is why the British ended up just outnumbering every other colonial power in the New World and eventually taking everyone else out.
But that has nothing to do with everyone working, though.
Well, I mean, I think it does, because if you were to get dropped your ass on the western side of the Cumberland Gap with nothing but a knife and some axes and shit, and you didn't work your ass off, you die.
Yeah, but everyone worked back then. That's the point. I said that everyone worked that had nothing to do with like the English conquest of the New World, which you agree with when you said that like no, it's because everyone was free and wasn't tied to the land.
Right. Okay, yeah, we're not arguing then.
All right.
But in the Victorian age, like kids 10 and up were being sent out to be chimney sweeps and all kinds of horrible shit.
So,
But even prior to that, under like King George III or the Regency with George IV, a group of English people could get together, save up some money, hire a boat, and just fricking go. They didn't have to go to the local lord and beg to be released from bondage to the land or any of that shit. The French did. Plus, the French, they think France is the best place ever. So the only people they really ever sent to the New World were fur trappers and hookers. And that is literally a fact. Whereas for the Spanish, they sent their nobles. You know, when you hear about Don Cortez running amok through Mexico or wherever, Don is knight or sir, in Spanish, right? So they also didn't just allow their people to flood over. It was like these nobles that brought their,
entourages.
their entourages to the New World hunting for gold or the Fountain of Youth or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be
in the
right
long
back
run,
because I need to go to the bathroom.
In the long run, that is why I would say the Spanish were the second best at colonizing the New World, just based on who speaks what language. You know, I mean, all of South America except for like Brazil speaks Spanish, so they did a good job. But man, were they racist. If you read about Spanish conquest of Mexico, they had a word for a person depending on what bloodlines they were. They had like 12 words. It was like, if you're an Indian, you're an Indian. If you were a Spaniard, you're a Castilian. If you were half Castilian and half black, you were a mestizo or something. If you were half black and half Indian, you were like a Zapasa or something. Like they literally had a weird caste system. At the top were the Castilians, and at the bottom were like the Indians. And then at one point, Mexico was also ruled by France. And it's a shame because they got rid of him, and he was a good emperor. And he really loved the Spanish people, him and his wife. But the Mexicans were all like, no, we're not
having it.
Not having it. But he was a Habsburg. So at some point, Mexico became part of the Habsburg thing, and they sent Maximilian to Mexico to rule. And he didn't even want to. He wanted to stay in Austria. But, you know, when you're a noble, you do shit. So there you go.
Right?
I mean, I've studied a little bit about that. Not that I know everything, but, you know. But, yeah. The whole, like even the Canadians were terrified of America because so many British immigrants were flooding into America that the British in Canada were worried we were just going to absorb them. There was a whole thing back in the 18 somethings where the Americans were screaming 54 or bust or some shit, wanting to take like up to the 54th parallel or something from Canada.
Really?
It was during that whole, what do they call it? God told us to go to the Pacific Ocean. Manifest Destiny.
No, yeah, that's what I was
And
thinking.
Canadians were freaking out because when gold was found in the Yukon, like tens of thousands of Americans were flooding into the Yukon. So the Americans outnumbered the Canadians by a huge margin. And they were just like, oh shit, what's getting ready to happen here? But we let them be because, you know, overall, America's a really nice country. I mean, we only invaded Mexico because they wouldn't stop, you know, crossing the border and kidnapping people and shit like that. So, as a matter of fact, a very young, this is a little history, not that you asked for, a very young Robert E. Lee, as a captain, led his cavalry unit down the main boulevard into Mexico City to capture the government building. So what was that, like 1820 something or whatever? So, yeah. Yep, Robert E. Lee helped conquer Mexico. Whereas me and my driver were talking yesterday that what America should do is stop giving a shit about Europe at all and just devote all of our time and energy to like befriending and unifying all of the Western Hemisphere, like from Greenland all the way down to Patagonia. You know what I mean? Trade arrangements and shit. I mean, we're already real besties with Argentina. So, I mean, Brazil likes us. At least they did. I don't know what'll happen now. If we can get rid of all the crime and corruption in Mexico, Mexico would be a great partner for us. And
that's not going to happen without a lot of bloodshed.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
Mexico, the average Mexican loves the cartel.
Well, that's unfortunate. The average Mexican I met was really nice. And the thing my uncle told me is stay away from the border and don't go to Mexico City, and you'll have a great time in Mexico. And
well, you kind of got to go through the border, so that alone.
By stay away. See, you're being pedantic. By stay away, it means after you cross the border, keep going.
Oh,
don't fuck around in the border towns because it's all
Juarez and obviously Tijuana are
Saltillo.
Yeah, they're just awful.
And then Mexico City is just terrible too. Don't go there.
And if you're white, just don't even go.
And no, see, because my uncle lives there. My dad has been there. I've been there. And it's just like, when you get to a small villa in Mexico, they are the nicest people you'll ever meet. Like, they'll bring you into their house. They'll feed you. They're so hospitable and awesome. But it's like when you get to the cities, it changes.
Well, it's also going to change soon here, for the worse for a while. So if you're already there, you probably know people, but there's probably going to come a time when people are going to flee Mexico, back to wherever it is they came from. It's just not going to be.
Well, I know they're mad at the white people who live in Mexico City because it drives the prices up. But it's stupid because the white people who live in Mexico City are legal immigrants.
Right, but with the upcoming war with the cartels, it's just, I foresee it getting very, very ugly.
Well, I mean, I guess they could try some terrorism type shit. But as far as actually resisting the United States, their chances are none.
But they'll still do it.
Yeah, and the chances are none. Again, look at their army. They don't even have tanks.
No, but
they don't have drones.
There will be a lot of people that will suddenly back them. You know what I mean?
You know what? I was watching the little puppet that speaks Russian. And he did the scenario. What if the United States decide to go to war with the rest of the world? We won.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely. We crushed them. Brazilians fighting in Ukraine against Russians. Yeah, you'd be able to tell them because they'd be the more handsome soldiers over there. I mean, even their men are pretty handsome. It's like, but I hope not, because all they're doing is dragging something out, like I've said all along.
Yeah.
That is a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Unless people are willing to take it to like World War III, Russia is going to grind the Ukraine down to nothing.
Did you ever play Fortress America?
I did.
Okay.
And I loved how every round the Americans got partisans in all the territories they occupied. So it was like you got a free infantryman and everything every round. If the invaders didn't deal with it, eventually all you had to do was hold the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And you would eventually just build up and just freaking crush them. That's why a lot of people didn't like the game, because it played the same every time. You know, hold the middle, build up your partisan forces, start producing factories, start producing tanks and fighters, jets, and then pick one side or the other to run off the continent, and then, you know, focus on the other side. But yeah, the war in Ukraine is predetermined. And when people try to argue, I got a brother-in-law. He always likes to argue the Ukrainians are winning. And I'm always like showing him the maps and being like, well, I mean, losing 20 kilometers a week is not how you win wars. I don't know what school of war you went to, but when you lose 20 plus kilometers of territory every week to the opposing side, you're not winning the war.
No.
You know, if the Russians decide to go balls to the wall, they can be in Kiev by.
Yeah, they haven't even. It's like they haven't even been trying. You know what I mean?
They're not trying. That's the thing. You see, like, first off, you see the DPR out there, or as we love to call them, the miners, because they're the mine workers from Donbass.
Yeah.
But now it's the Donbass People's Republic. And so you see them out there in old-fashioned Russian equipment. And lately you've started seeing some more elite units, like some Spetsnaz, some stuff like that. But it's like, okay, where are all of Russia's T-90s? We know they have them. Where are their BMP-3s? We know they have them.
Yep.
Why aren't they in Ukraine grinding shit down? Also, Russia has artillery pieces that can literally hit Kiev from the lines they hold. So why aren't they doing that?
Disclaimer from me, I have no idea what's going on over there right now. I've been busy with everything else.
What's going on over there is what's been going on over there for 3 years. The Ukrainians are fighting their hearts out for a government that hates them.
Right.
And the Russians are taking territory, and a lot of people are dying needlessly. And yeah, for some reason, the Russians refuse to call it a war. They call it their special operation. And they aren't using any of their high-tech shit. None of it. This is why you see like Ukrainian T-72s fighting Russian T-64 tanks. And the T-64, that's a year that thing went in service. That's why I was just saying, we have seen train loads of flatbed trains full of T-90s. Where are they? Where are they going? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because Russia is, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know why they're doing it. Because the reality is, if they really wanted to win the war, they could have won it. I mean, they have their,
like a week.
They could have
like a week.
bombed Ukraine into nothing, and that's not even including the long range and intermediate range missiles, and then just ran over. But for whatever reason, they're not doing it.
Right, and God knows what equipment they have that we've never even heard of.
Well, I'm just talking about stuff that's existed since like 1990. I mean, you see these things online where like the Ukrainians will destroy a Russian tank and it's like a T-72. I mean, we destroyed those in Iraq in 91, right? So why are the people from the Donbass Republic out there engaging, Bradleys and shit in 50-year-old tanks? What's going on there? Now, some people will be like, well, because the Russians can't afford it, blah, blah, blah.
That's a little horseshit.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
since this war started.
Mm-hmm.
They've made more money since the war started than prior to it. And they're going to make more. We're mad at India, but India just said, yeah, we're going to start buying Russian fuel. And some of the European powers are still buying Russian fuel. I wouldn't be surprised if Denmark isn't buying Russian LPG. You know what I'm saying?
We don't use a lot of gas, but probably oil, yes.
So the Russian economy is actually booming. They're damn near capable of existing without any imports. And they're making billions of rubles, which are actually based on a gold standard, so they don't deflate the way fiat currencies do. And yet, they're holding all their good equipment back. Maybe they're worried that the Europeans will jump in, and they're holding all of their like most technological shit back just in case, you know? Like if Poland crosses into Ukraine or the Germans try some shit, and then all of a sudden you see a bunch of divisions of T-90 Tusks and things like that come ripping through Belarus. That's another thing people don't understand is at any minute, Russia can send troops through Belarus and attack the western border of Ukraine. They're being idiots somehow, but I don't know how, Jeff. And I've actually researched it. I've listened to news from Romania, Bulgaria, other Slavic countries that are in the region. I've listened to people who are on the ground in Ukraine and Russia. I've listened to people from the DPR, and it doesn't make sense.
I mean, the only take I heard from friends is that basically the Ukrainian war is used as a basically to keep the military industrial complex running when they shut down the Middle East expenditures.
Quite possibly. And yes, Jeff, they are literally sending their soldiers into battle with equipment that was outdated 50 years ago. And they have this thing the Russians do now where, like, if your unit kills X amount of enemy soldiers, you get points. And if you get enough points, you can trade the points in for different equipment or better food or whatever. I think Ukrainians started doing that too when they heard about it. So, I mean, that's a weird way to fight a war, right? And of course, if you look at the Ukrainian army now, half of them are 50. So it's like, you know, they're literally snatching men off the streets in Ukrainian cities and sending them to the front line with like a week's worth of training. And so honestly, like I said, not a month goes by that Russia doesn't push further and further and further into Ukrainian territory. The Ukrainians cannot stop it because their army is not big enough to actually protect the front line. But the Russians are. They outnumber them by so much, right? So that's why when you look at like Russian maneuvers, it's all encirclements. The Russians will always hit from one side and the other and try to encircle the Ukrainian unit. And it makes you wonder why, because the United States would never do that. We would just destroy that unit entirely. We wouldn't try and encircle it. We would just launch so much baloney at them that they would die, you know? I mean, you see how we do. Like in Iraq. We didn't try to encircle Iraqi units. We exterminated them. And the Russians could do that too, but they're not. Ain't that weird? You know? It's weird. Makes no sense. I kind of sometimes get all like conspiratorial, and I'm sorry to put this on you guys. I've said it before. I could be totally wrong, but sometimes I think there's another force at work that wants the war to go on as long as possible. because the people dying on both sides are Orthodox Christians.
Oh yeah. That's absolutely a huge
So,
part.
because the Ukrainian government tends to conscript most of their fighting men from eastern Ukraine, the parts they still control. And those men are ethnic Russians. So what you have is a war of Russians fighting each other, and they're both Orthodox Christian too. Maybe that's why the Russians are going so soft on them. Who knows? Or like you and I said, and I agree, maybe they're holding all their shit back in case Poland or some UN nation wants to come across the border. And then the next thing you know, you've got like a Fulda Gap situation where all of this high-end Russian equipment is ripping into Germany, and they're launching short-range and intermediate-range nukes at everything. Which psychologist was it? Watched a video of Vladimir Putin and said he is not joking. Was it Kermit the Frog? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Jordan
Yeah.
Peterson.
Yeah. Psychologists and people who read body language have studied Vladimir Putin, and they've all said when he says he will nuke the shit out of people, he's not joking. He is 100% serious. He will. And that also causes an issue, you know, because it's like, if you're Europe and you wanted to help Ukraine, well, are you willing to see London go up in a freaking radioactive cloud?
Because it will.
Because it will. Because he's not joking. You know, and like our president says, there's a whole ocean between us and them. Why do we even care? You know, it's like, yeah, of course Trump wants to end the war, but at the end of the day, we're on the other side of the Atlantic. And Russia will not nuke us as long as we don't nuke them. They know better.
They know they would care absolutely.
End of the war.
It's a zero-sum game. We both, you know, no one would live. The Earth would be destroyed, and we all know that's never going to happen that way.
I think people would live though. The people way up in like the Tibetan mountains and shit that are like thousands of miles from any sort of technology, they'd probably be.
No, I literally think the thousands upon thousands of nuclear weapons would all launch, every single last one of them, and Earth would be uninhabitable for, you know, millennia if that was, you know, an option.
Well,
I don't think it is.
I'm not going to argue with you because I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm optimistic when I say that the people who live in, you know, the polar regions and shit like that probably wouldn't even notice. But then again, who knows? Maybe the nuclear winter is right and it F's everything up. But
it doesn't sound like that to me in Revelations. It sounds like something else is going to happen, and that's what I'm going to go with.
Well, I mean, Russia would be on our side in Revelations.
I know.
So
unless something drastically changes.
Right, unless something drastically changed. Yeah, I don't think you'd see strategic nukes. I think you'd see tactical nukes. So like Russia might drop a nuke on an enemy port or something like that just to deny resources. But I don't think it would go all out. I don't think it would. And I think the Europeans would play the same game. They might do a little tactical shit back and forth, but
I just wanted to say I need to head out and do some chores.
yeah,
so
go
have
do
a
your
good one,
chores.
guys.
Take care. I will see you later, man.
Thank you for joining, Dean. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
will sign up.
there is a couple of Romanian guys that have YouTube channels, and they go into detail about the war and everything. And it's pretty enlightening because they actually have contact with the men on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think right now it's the same mentality behind why there is no cure for anything right now. You know, it's
Well,
just
you don't make money from cures.
exactly, and you don't make money from the industrial, you know, the military industrial complex if you win a war. You make it by continuing and prolonging a war and That's all we ever see. It's just, there's no we won the war. It hasn't been since what, Korea.
World War II.
You
Even
know?
Korea ended with an armistice, and technically we're still at war with them.
Right. So why not just continue the never ending supply of
Well, Eisenhower warned us, homie.
Pardon?
Ike warned us.
Yeah, I know.
He told us in his going away speech, he warned us. But yes, Jeff,
Mhm.
both are absolutely horrible. And I gain no pleasure at all hearing about dead Ukrainian Orthodox Christians because they're my brothers. I don't want them to die. And it doesn't make me happy when my dead Russian Orthodox brothers, find that fate. And another thing that's super weird is a lot of the big fighting in a lot of the big cities that has happened is being led by forces from DPR. So the Donbass People's Republic. Technically, they're not even, they're ethnically Russian, but they're not part of Russia. They want to be an independent republic. Maybe. I don't know. And then you've got the Democratic Republic of Luhansk. And they're out there fighting too. These are guys that 3 years ago were working in coal mines and shit.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden they're crawling through tunnels and invading, Ukrainian held cities. It's like, when they took Bakhmut, that's how they took it. The DPR found a giant sewer line and literally infiltrated Bakhmut through the sewer line. And of course they could do it because they're all coal miners. So traveling a mile and a half down this tunnel was no big deal to them, man. They just rolled right in. And by the time the Ukrainians figured out what was up, they ran because it was too late, So, but yes, it's a mess. That's what it is, Jeff. It's a freaking mess. No one likes it. No Christian should ever like it. Anyone who claims to be a Christian that's saying that, that war is a good thing isn't a Christian. That is
No war is. We don't need them anymore. We've literally gotten to a point where we could literally settle any dispute.
You would
with
think
discussion.
you could just talk it out.
Yeah, but no.
What do I think about the Polish incursion? The fighter jet that went. Well, okay, the fighter jet that spent 12 minutes in Estonia, and then the missile that landed in Poland. I think both of those are the Russians effing up. And I don't mean effing up like they meant to do it. I think they were accidental in both cases, that a fighter pilot went a little bit off the grid. And by the time he figured shit out, he's like, oh shit, I'm in Estonia, And the missile, look, you launch them. Sometimes they go where you want. And every now and then they go where they want. But no, I don't believe the Russians have any. Poland would not be an easy fight for anybody. That country is heavily, heavily militarized, and they buy everything we're willing to sell them. Literally, they get mad at us because we won't sell them as much shit as they want to buy, So the Polish military right now is fronting with state-of-the-art US-made equipment, and they've militarized pretty much their entire male population. And, they're just looking for a reason to throw down with anybody. On one side, Russia, on the other side, Germany. Who's going to get it? You know what I mean? Because Poland's got a axe to grind with both of those places, And then on top of that, they're the one country that keeps telling the UN to just go F itself. Like the UN will tell Poland, you have to accept 100,000 North Africans, and Poland will be like, nope. And then the UN can't do anything about, because in a straight up war, Poland would probably whip the shit out of the rest of the UN. Probably. You know what I'm saying? Them Poles are tough guys, man. There were some Poles in Iraq. They are tough dudes. You don't want to get into it with those guys. They're they are definitely some rough guys. An Alaskan incursion, that could mean anything. I haven't heard about it. I mean, that could be a Russian jet crossed the border in the Bering and then was like, oh shit. Or maybe they were trying to spy. I don't know. I mean, we fly our freaking SR-71s and SR whatevers all over the damn place. I mean, we flew directly over Russia with spy planes so many times. I mean, one time with the SR-71, they caught us and they launched anti-aircraft missiles, and the SR-71 pilot just kicked back and hit it and left the missile behind because none of the missiles the Russians had could fly as fast and high as an SR-71. So it just, the Black Hawk, and the new one is supposed to be invisible. It's slow, but it's invisible compared to an SR-71. So, you know, it just flies. It basically, this airplane is flying so high, it's skimming space. I'm being serious. It is miles up, looking down with super cameras, and it's full of stealth technology. It's like no one can see it. So the UN infiltrated. The UN was never a good idea. America should leave it. Like we had to downvote all of those idiots wanting to make Palestine an independent country. And they were supposed to be our friends. It was England, Australia, France, and Canada. We're trying to get everybody to vote to make the Palestine an independent country. And of course, the U.S., because we're like founders, we were like, veto, bam, you know? Yeah, the UN's a piece of shit. We should leave the UN and not worry about it. The EU is a piece of shit. It was a really brilliant way. Some Europeans figured out how they could rule the rest of the Europeans, pretend to be a democracy when in fact they're an authoritarian oligarchy. You know, like think about what they did to the Romanian election. The guy they didn't like won the election, so they just canceled the election from Brussels. So you're a Romanian citizen, your vote don't matter because the people in Brussels said no, you can't have the guy. And look at how crazy they're getting over the AFD in Germany. And like in 1 week, like 11 AFD members die. Come on, man. That's Eurasia from 1984. That's what the EU is, Eurasia. Little known fact, Airstrip 1, which was England, was just an outpost for INGSOC. The headquarters of INGSOC was the United States. Well, actually, the Western Hemisphere. You know what I mean? They never really mention it, though. But yeah, INGSOC was an American thing. England was just an outpost. So we could fight Eurasia and East Asia. And most of the wars happen in Africa anyway. How do I see this ending? Unless Ukrainians are willing to give up a big buffer zone, which I would say probably along the Don River, and go ahead and admit that Crimea will always be Russia, Russia will end up going all the way to the Polish border. That's how it's going to end. Because, to quote our beloved president, we have no cards. Ukraine has no cards. We have no cards. Russia has all the cards. They can stop when they want. Well, what are we going to do? What cards do we got to play? Put some more sanctions on them? They've already got over 1,000.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Don't give a shit about sanctions. They're laughing, eating their borscht, you know, drawing up another 100 and some thousand soldiers to send to the front. Don't give a shit about anything we got going on. The only thing we could do to affect the Ukrainian war is actually send troops in. Do I think NATO will accept it? I don't think they have a choice. If NATO starts rattling the saber and saying, we want to go to war with Russia, America is going to be like, have fun with that shit. We're not going to war with Russia. You can count on that shit. It's not happening. Again, because as Shadow said, you're talking about an end of civilization event. And
Yeah.
we're not doing it to save a country that isn't even a real country. I mean, Ukraine was never actually an independent country anyway, except for a couple of years. When the Germans made it an independent country in World War II. And they fought for the Germans under Bandera. They're already a world pariah. And as we've seen, Jeff, they literally have no fucks to give about it. They will keep selling their oil to China and India. And the Chinese will sell that same exact oil at a marked up price to Europe. And the Russian coffers will still make shit tons of money, as they have been. And every time they need more troops, they'll just draw up more troops. And that's assuming, that North Korea doesn't send a shit ton more troops. Supposedly, they sent 100,000. And Chechnya has sent troops to the battle on the Russian side. So, I mean, if NATO gets involved, what's to stop China and India from getting involved? And Brazil. Because Brazil is part of BRICS. I mean, that shit could get wild really quick. And I think our government is trying to be like, let's calm shit down over here, right? But I mean, the person I really despise in this whole thing is Zelensky and Bolton and the guy that was
still around after lately.
Huh?
After the shit did he just get like indicted or something?
They're investigating him, and the guy Comey, who was in charge of the
he's
CIA
going down.
or whatever during the Obama years.
Yeah,
they're the ones that overthrew the elected government of Ukraine and replaced it with Zelensky. The Maidan coup was an American regime change.
How doesn't the entire world recognize him for what he is?
They do.
And still tolerate it.
Because regime changes are okay when we do it. And what can they do about it? Just like we may be on the road very soon to doing a regime change in Venezuela. And the rest of the world won't do shit about it. Oh, this isn't politics. There's no politics here. No one's trying to convince somebody how to vote or anything. This is just...
No, it's more...
This is history. This is what's going down. Now, Maduro of Venezuela's got a $50 million bounty on his head. So how long do you think it'll be before somebody picks that up?
About a week.
I explained to you why Russia won't swallow Estonia. Why would they? Estonia literally has nothing Russia needs at all. But that's how people who want to expand the war against Russia, they always say, well, how do we know they won't invade Poland? How do we know they won't invade the Baltic nations or Finland? And it's like, how do we know they won't invade the moon?
How do we know they haven't already?
Exactly. It's a
They
bullshit.
got their freaking city on the dark side. We don't know shit.
I mean, how do we know Estonia won't invade Russia?
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're just, 100%. And so, that is an argument. And don't take anything I say personally, even if my voice sounds away. Nothing but love, Jeff. But I do not agree with the argument of we got to stop Russia before they invade X country. I mean, in the last how many years, how many countries have they invaded? They fought 2 civil wars in Chechnya, and they fought a little bit against Georgia over the Ossetian province. And that's about it. We, on the other hand, have been in like 50 wars. We don't call them wars, but we sure as hell were there, dropping baloney all over the Middle East, getting involved in Central America. I mean, if you want to really, and I love America. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bad talking America. But if you want to talk about the most aggressive nation on the planet, it is the United States. We are not afraid to bomb anybody at any time, send special forces and SEAL teams in. I mean, we just do whatever we want. And the rest of the world just sits there and watches it because they know they ain't shit they can do about it. But yeah, see, I'm not neutral because I don't like seeing Orthodox Christians die, which means I'm on both sides. I want the war to end. If people had stopped putting all that money into Ukraine, the war would be over by now.
You know how much cool shit we could have done, you know, as a species? Can you imagine how much cool shit we could have done as a species if we just would knock off our stupid shit?
We're never going to knock off our stupid shit. We're going to be the species. Okay, I don't believe it, but I'm going to grant you something here because I'm feeling generous.
Magnanimous?
I'm feeling generous. Say we go to the stars and they're aliens. And it's like Star Wars even. There's aliens all over the freaking place, right? We're going to be the species they're all afraid of.
Oh, yeah.
Drill here, drill now. Yeah, get the freaking heavy metal from wherever. Which is funny because when Ukraine said, we'll let you mine heavy metals, Russia responded with, we've got more heavy metals and we'll let you mine ours. So it's like, to let us go on their territory and mine. Like,
You're starting to freeze up, James.
you know, I mean, like some weird shit going on. That's all.
Agreed, nerdy. We've got more oil under the states than we know what to do with.
There I am again. This freaking sketchy connection. Yeah, but to answer that, Jeff, yeah, we don't annex anything. We just send it back to the Stone Age and laugh. And then sometimes send in one of our companies like Halliburton to make billions of dollars rebuilding all the shit we did. I mean, which is, and I mean, okay, you can say that Russia is annexing Ukraine. You can't say they annexed Chechnya. Chechnya was part of the Soviet Union. So was Ukraine, but they were granted independence. And the Ossetian region, that's been like under, you know, they've been arguing about that shit for 200 years, right? Crimea has been Russian since Catherine the Great. So the 8th Tsar of Russia, 8th or 9th. So yeah, Ukraine was out of their freaking mind when they thought they were going to keep Sevastopol. That was not going to happen. Yeah, we don't need to annex anybody. We just destroy all their shit. I mean, if you want to get crazy, when Catherine took Crimea, she took it from the Turks. Once Russian, always Russian? No, obviously not. I didn't say that that at all. I mean, Ukraine was granted independence during the breakup of the Soviet Union. I think Dagestan and Turkmenistan, a bunch of those stands down in Central Europe, Asia, whatever, they were granted independence. But then other places were not. And when Georgia decided that they were going to move into Ossetia, that was definitely, firing the Russians up, who have claimed Ossetia forever. And Crimea is Russia's warm water port. So anyone who thinks they're going to give up their one warm water port is smoking crack or meth or both. It wasn't going to happen. And the thing people forget is Crimea had a contract with Russia that Russia could always use, or not Crimea, Ukraine, that Russia could always use and administrate Sevastopol and the whole 9 yards, right? 99% of the people on Crimea are Russian. Then all of a sudden, Zelensky started talking shit about, maybe throwing the Russians out. And then that's when we had the summer of little green men popping up like mushrooms all over Crimea. And the Ukrainians couldn't do shit about it, but complain. And Barack Obama, who started the shit when he financed the Maidan coup, did nothing to stop it either. So, yeah, you really won't blame anyone. Like I said, Biden, Obama, Comey, and Bolton. These are the guys who set up the coup that removed the pro-Russian leader from Ukraine and put in the 32-year-old transvestite actor who isn't even Christian. But somehow he's in charge of a country that's 90% Orthodox.
Apparently, does a freaking giant freaking what the hell was his name from Scarface amount of cocaine on a regular basis.
And he owns a home in Miami and Tel Aviv.
Yeah, how does that happen when your country is suffering like that?
Because of all the money that we have sent over there, they have literally like what's it called? When you steal money from a company you work for?
Embezzlement.
They have embezzled so much money that, like, at this point, no one knows. And some of the equipment we sent to Ukraine to help them has found its way to the Middle East. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's stupid. Ukraine was sovereign right up until it started becoming a threat to Russia, at which point Russia can do what it wants. If Mexico started talking about hosting a shit ton of Chinese military bases along the southern border of the United States, do you think we'd let them do that shit? The answer is no. We would invade Mexico right down to the Yucatan. That'd be the end of that shit. And that's what Ukraine did. Ukraine wanted to join NATO and then allow NATO to build military bases on the border of Russia. Yeah, great idea. Wonderful idea. Surely, the Russians will have no problem with that.
Yeah,
right?
And most people never hear that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
mainstream media will not talk about that. It's absolutely stunning how much disinformation and bullshit propaganda the average normie has been, is sucked up in the last 10 years.
Really, it's the bullshit propaganda.
It's just absolute, verifiable lies, but they've been so brainwashed and hypnotized by,
The Ukraine is one of the most corrupt nations on the planet, and also leads the world for child trafficking, human trafficking, all that shit.
When we were recovering children, all the little boys went to the Ukraine, and all the little girls went to Middle East.
Yeah, they're horrible. They are horrible. Yeah, they're savages. Yeah, lock your doors.
We had fun last night.
For sure. That's what I think.
Game.
Technically, Coco, I was just granting Shadow's position. I don't believe there are aliens. And if there are, they're so far away, we would never see them anyway.
Yeah, I honestly don't think we see them until after, Revelations.
Yeah, but
I think that's
even if I grant the idea that there were aliens out there, we would be the worst bastards that they ever encountered. They would be terrified of us.
Unless some of the things that we have in mythology and folklore and things like that were actual aliens, and then we would be.
We'd find a way to kill it, just like Conan said.
Well,
leads.
I'm talking like the super high end mythological,
like Galactus. We'd find a way to kill him.
Find what?
We'd find a way to kill him.
Who?
Galactus.
Oh no, I meant like actual
Cthulhu, Azathoth. Oh yeah, eventually we'd find a way to kill their ass.
Yeah, maybe. but it would
But,
be
I
so
mean,
far down the road.
So basically, we're defending the country that's known to be one of the most corrupt nations on the planet to actively engage in sex trafficking, and whose president shut down elections for the foreseeable future.
But see, no, most people don't know that stuff, you know. And the
I
people
mean,
who
which
do,
is not to say Russia isn't an oligarchy. I mean, Putin's been the president for what, 30 years now or some shit? I mean, since Yeltsin. So, I mean, but you know what you don't hear about from the Russians? Sex trafficking and shit like that so much.
Yeah. Spirit cooking and
Yeah. And again, to reiterate, so much of the money that the United States sent over there has ended up embezzled into different leaders in the Ukrainian government's accounts.
yeah.
I
did the math, and if
we're never getting any of it back. Forget about it.
I honestly believe that the entire Senate, or at least half the Senate, got like the equivalent of $1 billion each back then, and it's all in a Swiss bank account, and they're just keeping their mouths shut. Can't be traced, can't be proven, can't be retrieved, and that's why we kept sending money over, because they were taking their cut.
Yeah, it was a giant money laundering scheme.
The only argument against that is the fact that the Democratic Party, DNC, is now like bankrupt.
Well, just because the DNC's bankrupt doesn't mean members of the government are.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to dump that money back into the next election, or do you think they're just going to sit on it and retire and use it as getaway money should things get really bad?
Yep.
I mean, if I had $1 billion, you can guarantee half that money would be my escape plan from.
And it's not just Democrats; there's Republicans.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I was just saying, but I could see how at a certain point when the Republican Party was saying no more money, or most of them were saying no more money, the Democrats were still, we're just cutting the Republicans out of that little Ponzi scheme and just we'll take our, $1 billion for each senator for our half, and since we have the majority, we'll just keep voting ourselves, another $1 billion every time, or 500 million.
Yeah, at no point did I say that. As a matter of fact, I said Putin's an oligarch and has been in charge of Russia for like 25 years. That is the exact opposite of what you're implying.
Yeah, I
Also,
guarantee
he's not above having, reporters that talk shit about him vanish.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying Putin is a saint.
Not even close.
I mean, seriously, I don't know where you even got that from what I said. Because typically when I say somebody's an oligarch who's ruled a country for 25 years, yeah, I'm not saying that they're, democratic, have elections.
Squeaky clean.
Yeah. You pulled that one right out of your butt, bro.
Yeah, he was what, KGB before that for how long? I mean, he knows all the
His
dirty
whole
tricks.
life.
He's probably written most of the dirty tricks in their book.
He was KGB his entire adult life, and Boris Yeltsin called him into a private meeting and basically begged him to run for the president of Russia, or premier. And he did. At which point he immediately threw in jail all of the oligarchs that had supported him, including one of the Rothschild children. That guy sat in prison for 12 years before he let that guy out. And then what else did he start doing? Well, if you're a reporter and you talk shit about Putin, you got vanished. And sometimes you didn't get vanished. Sometimes you got left in places so that people could find you, knowing that you could never prove anything, but you knew, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, Vladimir Putin's a dictator. Granted, the Russian people love him, but he's a dictator.
Yeah.
His number one enemies in Russia right now are the Communist Party. He hates them. They hate him.
Well, communism is a blight on humanity, and it needs to be fixed.
Right. But see, here's what happened. A lot of people don't know this. When Soviet Union broke down, every citizen in the Soviet Union was given a shit ton of stock in all these companies, right?
Yeah.
And then the bosses of the companies, the people who were running them, were given actual ownership of the companies. It was this massive privatization thing, right? But then what happened is people who had money, the future oligarchs, went around and bought for pennies on the dollar all of the stocks from the poor people. And they become so amazingly wealthy, billions upon billions of dollars, that they were basically running Russia like a gangster state. And Gorbachev nor Yeltsin could do a damn thing about it.
And Jeff, it's like apples and oranges. They're both corrupt, just in different ways.
And no, they're not equivalently corrupt.
Yeah.
Like in Russia, if you're walking down Moscow, there could be a chance that you could get robbed or something, but not really so much of a chance that they're going to steal billions of dollars from your country and then ship weapons you gave to them to Iran and, all the other. I mean, Ukraine is truly a horrible place and has been since it gained its independence. And the only reason it gained its independence is because Khrushchev was Ukrainian. And he's the one that made Ukraine an independent Soviet state and then took Crimea away from the oblast that Moscow is in and put it under the oblast of Ukraine. And then when the Soviet Union fully disintegrated, the Ukrainians are like, hey, hold on, though. Crimea is ours. Even though Crimea had only been placed under their government for, I don't know, maybe 15 years, maybe less. I mean, the whole thing is a convoluted mess. But yes, Russia is corrupt, though. I don't know why, but as soon as you cross into Eastern Europe, prepare for corruption. And it doesn't matter if it's Poland, Hungary, Romania, Serbia, Croatia, doesn't matter. As soon as you roll into any part of Eastern or Southeastern Europe, there's going to be corruption. Just, I don't know how. You would think people who are so devoted to Orthodox Christianity would not be so corrupt, but they are. Maybe it's from, all the years under the USSR, having to scavenge and scam and do whatever you had to do to get enough potatoes to feed your family. And it just has become ingrained into their civilization now that they're always trying to scam, because they are always trying to scam. And before anyone tries to front me on this, yes, I have had a Serbian brother-in-law. They love to scam, and they love to hate Albanians. That's their two favorite things on the planet: scamming each other and hating Albanians.
They need better hobbies.
Who they don't even consider to be Balkan. They consider the Albanians to be Turks. So, yeah, that hatred's been going on for about 1,000 years. But Albania is on its way out anyway, since, as I've said multiple times, for the first time in history, the majority religion in Albania is Christian, Orthodox. Other border countries. So when Russia takes Ukraine back and ends the NATO threat on it'll be bordering the NATO because Poland. Why would Russia accept NATO on that border? Well, I mean, that's kind of a circular argument, because then what you're saying is Russia has to take all of NATO. That's never been their goal. As a matter of fact, look it up. Russia tried to join NATO back in the 80s. When the Soviet Union collapsed and shit like that, yeah, Russia applied for NATO membership, and we said no. Why? I don't know.
James, I'm gonna have to let you go. Someone's at the door.
Yeah, go handle your business.
I will see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to chat with Jeff for a little bit more until I do other things.
Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, man. Like right now, I'm using a German black gray to do the roofs because I thought the black was just a little bit too whatever. And I like this really I think, like I said earlier, that if Ukraine were to go to Russia and say, look, here's the deal. We're never joining NATO, and the independent republics or the places that have declared independence get to be independent, Russia would end the war. Not only do I think that, but that's basically what they've said, which means that Ukraine would have to sacrifice the entire east part of the country from the Donbass River. So Mariupol would be gone. Bakhmut would be gone. Luhansk would be gone. All that would be gone. And I think, now I could be wrong with this, that Russia would allow the DPR and LPR to set themselves up as independent client states as kind of a buffer. And then maybe everyone could live at peace. But the problem is every time the Russians have mentioned that, and even we've talked to them about that, Zelensky's been like, there can be no peace unless we get Crimea back, blah, blah, blah. And as I've already told you, strategically, Russia cannot give up Crimea. They can't and continue to exist as anything other than a third world country. That is their warm water port. That's all they got. So Zelensky is asking for shit he knows for a fact the Russians will never give. That's why Trump and J.D. Vance and Rubio and everybody got on his ass the way they did. Because we know what he's doing. You think he gives a shit about the war going on and a bunch of Ukrainians dying? He doesn't give a shit. The first thing you have to remember is Zelensky. I mean, we have to figure this out. Does he even consider himself Ukrainian? I mean, ethnically? Because ethnically, like my pops, he's Jewish. Also, his only political experience until the CIA put him in office was pretending to be a politician on a comedy TV show in Ukraine. Yeah, that's 40K. So the whole idea of Zelensky being president stinks to high heavens. It is the most absolutely corrupt thing ever. And like I said, Comey, Bolton, Biden, Obama, they did it. Because, you know, they wanted rid of, what was his name, Poroshenko? Because Poroshenko was too pro-Russian for them. They didn't like it. And, yeah, we've had this hell since then. Because we had to get involved in some freaking, you know, regime change bullshit in the middle of Europe, next door to the country with the second most nuclear weapons on the planet. I mean, to me, that sounds like the kind of shit you do if you're just wanting to see humanity become like extinct, you know? That just seems like such a bad idea. NATO is a threat. Like if all of NATO just up and decided we're going to war with China, I mean, that would be England, France, freaking Germany, Poland, Hungary, Romania. I mean, that's a lot of different countries. And it would end only in one way, with the Russians unleashing nuclear hell on the world, or at least Europe. Because, like I said, I believe America would tell them to have fun, but we're not getting involved in that shit. I could be wrong. I always have to say that. I could be wrong, man. I've been wrong a lot. But, I mean, I have 2 ex-wives to prove that I've been very wrong multiple times. But that threat of the extinction of all humanity, that keeps being a thing, though. You know what I mean? Even if you're in Brussels, I mean, you can talk a bunch of shit and rattle your saber all day long. But when you know, you have to start considering that all of humanity, all of civilization, etc., could cease to exist in about 25 minutes, then all of a sudden you gotta use some different mathematics. You know what I mean? You gotta start making some different plans. Right now, Europe is absolutely helpless against a Russian first strike. Unlike us, who have tons of, anti-missile bullshit and a whole ocean between us so that we would know it's coming. If the Russians start firing TAC nukes into Germany, by the time the Germans detected them on the radar, it'd be too late. I do think it's insane. You know what else is insane, Jeff? Sending tons of young men to die in trenches, instead of trying to make peace. I think that's insane too, brother. What else is insane? I don't know. The United States sending a bunch of weapons to one of the most corrupt countries on the planet just because we want to fight a proxy war with the Russians. Because, we ain't got the balls to actually fight the war with the Russians. But, man, we're going to be there for the proxy war. And the same with all of Europe. And then again, I don't know. If I was president of the United States and I got involved in a war and it become 100% clear that I was going to lose big, right? And that my civilization, the American culture itself, was getting ready to vanish, would I hit the button? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I would. 100%. I'd rather destroy the entire world than have a world without the United States. And I guarantee you the Russians feel the same way. And I apologize for the language, though. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why would I allow me and my people to be exterminated off the face of the earth and then let the people who did it live? You know what I'm saying? It's like the Moby Dick thing, or even better, the Khan Noonien Singh thing. When Khan realized he had lost and he was going to die, did he just go gently into that good night? No, he cursed Kirk from the mouth of hell. Yeah, it doesn't matter, though, if everyone's dead. You see what I mean? You're using way too much logic, Jeff. You need to get in your emotions a little bit. Let's say China was going to invade America and every single American was going to be wiped out. Our Constitution was going to be burnt. Everything that we are was going to be done. Do you think we'd nuke China? Fuck yeah, we would. Fuck yeah, we would. And let the pieces fall where they may. By this reasoning, the world is doomed. No, it's not. Because everyone knows it would happen. Therefore, no one's going to push far enough for it to happen. Right? Remember, it's the doctrine of mutual self-destruction. Like, yeah, all of Europe could invade Russia any day they wanted. They're not going to, though, because the doctrine of mutual it's like, yeah, we can invade Russia and then they will turn our countries into irradiated wastelands. And then we'll turn their country into an irradiated wasteland. And then at the end of the day, did anyone win anything? Nope. No winners, just losers. And that is how we have kept the peace since, like, I don't know, the 70s, 60s. I mean, it's like when China starts acting up and every now and then we have an Ohio class pop up off the coast just to let them know that, we've got a submarine with 20-something nuclear warheads sitting right off their country and we could hit them and they could never stop us. Sooner or later, someone's going to push the button. Hopefully by that time, we will have invented technology that will make it where it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know if it'll work or not, but maybe Trump gets the Golden Dome built, right? It's the greatest dome ever. I can't do Trump, but you get what I'm saying. At which point, then we can be like, yeah, you got nukes. We don't care. Which honestly might not be a good thing because then it might lead to war. You know what I mean? Because if we're like, yeah, we don't care about your nukes. They're no threat to us. And so we're just going to invade you. So, yeah, getting rid of the mutually assured destruction could maybe be the worst thing ever. Because then we go back to conventional wars. And I'll tell you what, man. I mean, I'm too old now unless it got really bad and they started recruiting, 54-year-olds, which, has happened before. Look up the 77th Infantry Division. But yeah, I don't want any of that, man. I mean, I ain't trying to be a hero. I had my share of war in Iraq. I'm done. Once we move to the stars, we will be immortal and we won't care. From your mouth to God's ears, Nerdy Ogre. Or alternatively, once Jesus returns and puts an end to all the bullshit and rules over the entire earth as a divine king for 1,000 years of glory, we won't have to worry about it either. Now, the aliens thing you talked about, Nerdy Ogre, that sounds way cooler. Kinda, because I like Star Wars, right? I love Star Frontiers. So that sounds pretty awesome, right? But the thing I'm mentioning is kind of what, a bunch of people have said could happen too. So, I mean, basically all we got to do is hang out long enough to either get FTL travel and get the hell off this planet or have Jesus come back. Yeah. I never had to deal with that. I mean, I was born in 1971. And that shit was they just did that to make you feel good. It's kind of like when a plane crashes and they want you to put the O2 mask on. As a paramedic, I can tell you why. O2 calms you down. It makes you feel way better about anything that's going on. So you're on a plane, 20,000 feet up, and it's falling to the ground like a freaking brick. And you throw the O2 on and start taking big huffs of that O2, and all of a sudden you feel fine, man. It's like no big deal. Everything's going to be okay. And then the plane hits and you're instantly dead. So, yeah. I will say this. If I'm wrong and aliens exist and we ever get to meet them, and some of them do not look and act like Dralocytes from Star Frontiers, I am going to be very disappointed. Damn, crafting gamer. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Crafting gamer. Okay. Yeah. Why not both? Could I don't know. Like when me and Nerdy Ogre got in a theological debate. The only thing I know is that I hope that I'm right, but I can't prove it. I can just go by faith and hope. So maybe, for all I know, Jesus comes back with the second coming, and the first thing he does after he straightens us out on earth, he says, oh, and by the way, here's faster than light travel. Knock yourselves out, kids. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I don't think that that's the way it's going to go, but I can't tell you it's not. And so there you go. Points for crafting gamer. Because, yeah. See, I'm painting the roofs of my buildings, like all the freaking air conditioning vents and shit like that. And then this one's got like this pipe thing on the side that's going to get painted. I've heard all kinds of arguments, like made in the image of man could mean spiritually, not physically. I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be had there. But at the end of the day, I want to address Jeff personally. Jeff, I hate Orthodox Christian men dying for no reason. Period. Ukraine is a horrible country. Period. Russia is a dictatorship, but somewhat slightly less horrible than Ukraine. Period. And the sooner this shit gets fixed, the happier I'll be. And that'll be one less thing I need to pray about. You know what I'm saying? But I do firmly stand on the side of Russia here. Ukraine played some effed up games, and now they're winning some effed up prizes. But it's our fault. If we had not financed the Maidan coup and put that little rat-faced scumbag in charge of Ukraine, maybe this wouldn't have happened. I mean, it's not as if the Russians weren't warning us the whole time that, if we kept effing around, they were going to invade Ukraine. They were. They warned us forever. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. And I've heard the reason for that is because they're not actually aliens, they're demons. And they're basically they're just doing bad stuff to you for the hell of it. Because you got to ask yourself this, right? If an alien race could actually travel interstellar, which is hard to even imagine, right? Why in the hell would they need to stick something up somebody's ass? Like, how does that even make sense? You're telling me you can move your starship FTL all the way across the galaxy or whatever, but you need to stick something up my ass to tell some medical thing about me? I mean, it's like, what? Did you guys just forget medicine when you were doing technology? It's like, it's weird, right? You can travel all the way across the freaking stars, but you got to stick probes in people's asses. Those are not anything I like when I think about, like a vastly superior technological culture. I think about, hey, that whole getting old and dying thing, we fixed that. And we've got, like tricorder looking things, and we can point this thing at you and hit a button, and he'll tell you everything we ever wanted to know about you, right? Okay, we do it to monkeys probably because the scientists involved are evil bastards. Remember, everybody's best friend, Dr. Fauci, was literally having beagles eaten to death by sand fleas. So, I mean, yeah, I don't trust any of that. Like I'm saying, if you could develop a faster than light ship, surely you could develop a tricorder and just be like, okay, boop, 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 boop. Yep, got all the information we need. Catch you later, baby. Boom, gone. This whole probing people in the butt and stuff, I mean, that just does not seem like a very high-tech thing at all. Seems kind of mean, really. And therefore, the reason I think that the aliens are demons. Because, you know, that makes a lot more sense, you know. It makes more sense to me that a demon would want to violate you in such a way than an alien. Now, you guys can argue with me about that if you want. That's fine. But that's all I'm saying about it. And if there's human scientists sticking weird probes up monkey butts, that shit needs to be ended post-haste. That's how you get monkeypox, right? These scientists need to stay away from monkey butts. Eventually, they're going to F around and accidentally create the disease that just wipes all of humanity. Well, if the demon theory is the thing, then they're just doing it to be spiteful bastards. Therefore, they need no further excuse. They're just capturing somebody and torturing them for a while because it's fun for them. That's what they want to do. Explain your theory. Okay. I mean, I don't know what your theory was, but I am hanging on with bated breath to hear about it. The other day when I was trying to end the show, my computer froze up and started making weird sounds like the Matrix and shit. So I'm a little bit worried that this poor old computer is on the way out, to be honest. Which I can't like talk shit about it because it's been a good computer for like a long time. It's an old computer. And it wasn't even new when I got it. My brother gave it to me. So, you know, I can't even be like pissed off about it. You know what I mean? My brother gave it to me. It's worked fine for freaking years and years and years. And so, you know, there you go. All right. Nerdy Ogre.
I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? You can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, for some reason, me adding you to the show turned my mic off.
Okay.
Restream is weird. Maybe I need
Technology is weird.
Maybe I need
Okay.
to go through this computer and like delete all of the bullshit that's in it and like, you know, defrag a hard drive, you know, something. I mean, like I
Spring
said,
cleaning.
I have been doing a lot of shit on this computer for a long time.
Okay.
Let's hear your theory, homie. Is
This
this theory of why aliens would want to stick stuff up our butts?
no.
Okay, because I was going to say I disagree.
This is how our galaxy started. And with it spinning, the expansion. Now, whether you call it the Big Bang, somebody saying there's light, however, whatever,
Hey, both could be the same thing.
valid. Okay, our galaxy is now expanding. All right, we started here, went, and it's spinning.
Everything's the whole
Now,
universe is expanding.
if you-
There'll come a point where we won't even be able to see other stars.
If you look at it, we're out here on the fringe,
Yep,
which means
we're at the end of one of the spiral arms.
right, which means that you know, whenever we started, whenever this whole thing started, it started here in the center and just expanded. which means that we are one of the older ones. We are one of the older planets, planetary systems, whatever you want to call it. So that means like these are all these are newer. So therefore, being one of the older ones, there's probably not too many that are older than us, and if they are, they're not that much older. So
I mean, I get your thought, and I have no response because I don't know either way. It's like what I know is the Bible says there was absolutely nothing, and then God said, "Let there be light." The other thing I know is that a long time ago, back in like the 50s or whenever, some Roman Catholic monk came up with the idea of the Big Bang Theory. And they say the universe is expanding, and I've read some people who say eventually we will expand so far away from each other that it'll be a night of eternal blackness because we will be so far from each other. Everyone will be so far that no one will even be able to see each other. But then some people say the universe will collapse back into the singularity or whatever the hell it was that was there. Whatever. See, I don't know. I don't know any of that.
well, I mean, I don't either. I'll be the first to tell you.
And that's why I can't argue your point.
This is coming from a guy who doesn't really know much, just using logic of what he's been told by people who've actually studied this stuff. I'm not saying what they're saying is true. I'm just saying this is what people who have spent their lives studying and learning about astrophysics and all this stuff, and I'm just using logical reasoning.
Here's the problem. And I learned this actually because my niece dated a theoretical physicist. Physics, as we know it, has changed about 20 times since we started. It's like string theory is not a thing anymore. Remember when string theory was the big hotness? Now we're on to like interwoven particle theory and shit like this. So the point I'm making is the people you're talking about, they don't even fucking know.
Right.
They're making theories up and they're saying it could be this. They don't know. None of them know. And that's why.
I agree with you. And shut up, nobody wants to talk to you.
Well, somebody might. Don't be mean.
And
don't make me get all Lee Emery on you. Where are you from, boy? Texas? The only thing that comes from Texas is steers and clears. Do you suck dicks? I'm sorry. Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, that shit is crazy, man.
Anyway, I'm just saying, it's like, they have more knowledge on the subject than I do.
You think?
I mean, just from, just from, the math and the way it works, they have more knowledge on the subject than I do.
That is what you have faith in. Because it could all be wrong.
Well, it could all be wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody could have just forgot to carry the 2 in Albuquerque. And once
that's my point.
once that gets discovered, it changes everything. I get it. I'm just saying that there are people who have spent their entire lives studying and learning about this, trying to figure this out. I haven't. I can barely grasp.
Let me ask
basic
you a
rudimentary of
what you just said. Okay?
Okay.
Do you consider yourself a human of worth? Like, does your existence matter?
Not really.
See, that's a horrible thing to think because I'm telling you right now, it does. And the follow up to that is, so some guy spent 10 years studying some shit and you read about some shit out of a book. Your opinion is every bit as fucking valuable as his is. Unless he can prove it, doesn't fucking matter. It's his opinion.
I'll give you that.
So don't underestimate yourself, Nerdy Ogre, man. You got the right to have all the opinions about physics and space you want.
I agree.
And just because some asshole spent a bunch of time in university being babysat by a bunch of Marxist professors, don't make him one dram better than you are.
I'm not saying they're better than me. I'm just saying they're more knowledgeable on the subject. Okay.
And I'm just saying maybe, but what if you go to the library and you read a bunch of books on physics?
It's entirely possible. Then I would be one of the people that would be more knowledgeable on the subject than the average person.
And since physics changes so much, I mean, you could also kind of make the argument that physics or science in general is like a house built on the sand. You know what I mean? Because it's constantly changing. Everything is constantly changing in science. Evolution has changed. Dinosaurs change. Everything scientists have told us that's not math has changed. So that is not a rock you can build your life on. Just a bunch of guys sitting around making shit up. You know what the number one thing you need to have to be a scientist is?
A sense of curiosity.
Imagination. You have to
Best
have
thing I've ever heard, I forget who said it. The best thing I ever heard is the difference between screwing around and a scientific experiment is documentation.
Yeah, it gets really crazy.
If you have a yellow liquid and a blue liquid and you just mix those together, you come out with a green liquid, that's just screwing around.
Unless
But
you
if you document it down, write it down, the date, it's like
well, you got to do it multiple times.
2 milliliters, and you write everything down from the theory, from the hypothesis of what you think will happen to what actually happens. That's scientific. That's the scientific method. And if you replicate it and if you repeat those exact same steps over and over and get the same results, then you have a scientific fact. But like I said, though, at the beginning, the difference between screwing around and scientific research is nothing more than documentation. Once you start you start screwing around. Once you start documenting it, that it goes from screwing around to scientific research.
Yeah, I guess my issue, which is
something even a 10-year-old does,
is I just don't trust them. Remember, we were supposed to wear masks, stay 6 feet away from each other.
Well,
then wear 2 masks, then do some other shit, then do the hokey pokey, then get a shot that may or may not give you a cardiac arrest. And everyone, like, if you questioned it, they attacked you. Of course, I question it because I don't put shit in my body. And also, I'm smart enough to know that a bit of cotton cloth will not stop a virus.
Right.
That'd be like trying to stop, a marble with a chain link fence.
Yeah.
All they were trying to do is make people feel safer than they actually were. But think about all the people that, and maybe this is also the
they
reason
weren't that.
For my opinion, think about all the people that were running around saying, trust the science. Well, guess what? The science is wrong.
Well,
100%.
there was no science
Proven
there.
wrong.
There was no
And
science
yet-
there.
And yet the government and the scientists and everyone were saying trust the science. Yeah, so if they've got dimension hopping bullshit, I still don't see why they got to put probes up monkey asses or whatever.
Okay. Look, we have people.
I
That
think
go
you're
out-
right, William Sova. I think you're right.
We have people that go out and they will trank an animal, and they'll get blood samples, fur samples, all sorts of samples of whatever they can. They'll put a tracking device on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll release it back into the wild.
Right.
And they will use that tracker to see where it goes, when it goes there, how long it stays there, where it goes after that, when it goes, all
And
this.
you know why they do that? That's the only way they can get their grants. Otherwise, they might have to get a real job. Because who gives a fuck if giraffes wander up and down Africa? I mean, why would any
I
government
don't know.
or college place be willing to pay a team of idiots millions of dollars to figure out the breeding habits of an ape?
I don't know. I don't know what scientific.
There is no
Knowledge.
scientific use for that shit. That's how you get AIDS and monkeypox. Fucking around with that shit. I mean, that science doesn't help us at all. Like when they track the great white shark. Okay. We know great white sharks swim all over the fucking place. Guess who already knew that? Me. I already knew sharks swim all over the freaking place. It's like the reality is these scientists have to come up with things to be curious about so that they can get money from the government and the college foundations so that they can go out and do stupid shit. But at the end of the day, I would really love to know how much of their stupid shit has actually been beneficial to humanity in any way. I mean, you want to talk about beneficial to humanity, the guy that came up with the polio vaccine. Now that's kicking ass, right?
All right.
That saved a lot of people from horrible, horrible shit. And
I don't know why.
But he didn't have to go out and like trank animals to do that. Shit. I'm having a hard time right this second thinking of any technological advancement we've made in the last 50 years that matters.
Bluetooth.
Who cares?
We do make my life a little easier.
Speaking of that, right? I mean, but see what I'm saying though, Bluetooth, if it didn't exist, it wouldn't matter. You just have a cable running from your device to the other device. It's not a game changer, But at some point, some hillbillies developed flight. But that was like 100 years ago, right? Since then, what? Maybe stealth technology?
Well, look, here's the thing. You bring that up.
It's like
It was
everything we're inventing is bad.
1902?
It was 19 something.
Yeah, it was early 1902. 1902, the Wright brothers took their historic flight.
Right.
First manned flight.
Yep.
Okay. 1964?
Yep. We went to the moon.
We went to the moon. That's only 62 years difference. That means that there is probably some old timer sitting in a chair at the old folks' home watching that launch who was there to witness the first, not witness it, but, was there when the first manned flight, when the Wright brothers first took off.
And you want to know what's amazing about that? The computers they used to actually land men on the moon were about the same computational strength of a TI-85. Which means all of the computation we have invented means nothing. The internet is either emptier for porn and cat videos, and humanity, we're not really advancing in any.
Well, no, I mean, look, there's always going to be a law.
I hope you're right. I really do.
There's always going to be a law. You know, right now, we're not making any great advancements. We're just finding quicker, easier ways to do what we already do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, there's more technology in this thing than there was in the first computers.
Oh, by far.
Okay, but
that
still,
thing is absolutely amazing because it has all the information.
And this is out of date. I've had this for several years. It's out of date.
Yeah. So here's my point.
But
you have in your hands all of the knowledge of our entire species since the beginning of us keeping track of it. What have you done?
I'm playing role-playing games mostly.
That's my point. All of the stuff that we've invented doesn't mean anything. Hasn't changed anything. We're not getting stronger.
On
We're not getting faster. We're not any closer to going
like I said,
to the stars. I'm actually
I disagree with that.
in our science.
I disagree
feel like
with
we
that.
should be way, way further than we are. Oh, the power of tricknology, man of war. Tricknology only works on brown people. Specifically, they got to be African. If you read the words of the Reverend Elijah Muhammad, you would know this. The Nation of Islam believes white people are demons that have a power called tricknology that can trick black people into like becoming slaves and every other thing. And I make fun of it because instead of the prophet Jacob, Yaqub, and apparently Yaqub got super mad at all the other black people. So he created white people specifically to torment them. And he had two brains. His head was like this. This is what they believe. Like I said.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it?
Pardon my language on your pure channel, but fuck that shit. Anyway.
That's the NOI, the Nation of Islam, that believes that about Yaqub.
Hey, I gotta go.
Okay.
I gotta take care of some things.
They also killed Malcolm X.
But
bastards.
Talk to y'all later.
Talk to you later. Yeah, I don't mean to be like a pessimist, guys. I just think that it's like, it's like Idiocracy, where they talk about the scientists spend all of their time working on hair growth and hard-on pills. And I kind of feel like that's just it. It's like, we're not doing anything big. And Nerdy Ogre, he brought up, the 60s, the moon landing. Well, I mean, okay, why haven't we went back? And I'm not saying the moon landing didn't happen. I'm just asking why we haven't went back. Like, why in the name of all that is holy do we not have a base on the moon right now? Why? And that's what frustrates me. I feel like our civilization, despite all of our distractions, has become just stagnant. We'd rather fight in the street over whether or not it's okay to terminate an unborn child than try to figure out how to get to Mars. I mean, something is drastically wrong with civilization. And this is why sometimes I tell you guys, there are times when I sit down and I think, maybe I should just move into a cave. Say F all this shit. I'm done. I'm probably never going to do that unless my wife passes before I do. And I don't think that'll happen. But yeah, man, we have all this beautiful technology and it has really done nothing for us. I would agree with that 100%, William. Just like how the pharmaceutical companies will do everything they can to make sure no one ever cures anything. Because you don't make any money curing things. You make money treating things. And that's just where we are, homies. And I'm not a fan of it. And, you know, I'm not trying to be any sort of rude way towards Nerdy Ogre. He's a completely awesome guy. But I just, you know, and yes, I believe the future will be more pulp bullshit than Star Trek any day of the week. And I don't think humans will change. Like how Star Trek posits all the humans walk around without moving their arms and they're all vegan, blah. No. Every planet we land on, if there's anything on that planet made out of anything even remotely resembling meat, we're going to eat it. If it's fuzzy and cute, we're going to make a pet out of it. If it shows aggression, we're going to kill it. I mean, why? Because we're humans. And this is just how we are. And we're not going to change. We haven't changed in the... Depends who you ask. I specifically think hundreds of thousands of years for Homo sapiens. That might be against church teaching, and I will repent and apologize. But, you know, we have been around a long ass time, and we are doing the same shit over and over again. And that's before you get me going on the woo-woo shit with... how do we even know this is the first time we've achieved a technological civilization? I mean, we could have done this over the last 3 billion years on a cyclical rate where, like, you know, humanity rises up. We figure some shit out. Then, you know, some shit goes down. We drop doom weapons all over each other. Humanity goes back to the Stone Age. You know, 100,000 years passes. We start building shit again. And then at some point in the future, we start, you know, doomsday weaponing ourselves right back into, you know, savagery again. I mean, that shit could have just been going on for the last 3.5 billion years. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. That said, I'm going to go harass my wife. I'm going to chase her around. And if she's too slow, I might catch her and spank her. Not really, though. Not really. But anyway, peace out, guys. And hey, those of you who think different than me, well, maybe you're right. You know, maybe that would be for the best. We'll see.